in the rivers, out in the seas, masters of the deep, dolphin mysteries. Bottlenose freaks, short beaks in the night, humpback shadows, pygmies out of sight. All the dolphins, you know it's true, rolling deep in the ocean blue. Stripes and spots, they rule the tide. Water dogs of the deep, they don't hide. In the river's grip, seas endless bounty, ruling the waves, Dolphin Illuminati. Praised by Romans, gods to the Greeks, underwater rulers, the power peaks. In ocean depths, their counts to 6. Dolphins in the dark, never calling it quits. Striped and spotted in the sea's domain, aquatic dogs in their own insane lane. Through rivers they ride, seas they roam. In the ocean depths, they make their home.
Well, I talk about insanity, which is what's going on in your mind, and outside, which is where you communicate with those outside. As you know, if you give too much of your insanity, they'll lock you up. I tried giving as much as I could. They locked me up. They published it, paid me.
Dolphin Illuminati, deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that Dolphin Illuminati. It's that Dolphin Illuminati.
Illuminati coming. Yeah, Illuminati coming. You know you want it. This Illuminati coming.
Learn about the full history of the Bavarian Illuminati. Adam Weishaupt, Alumbrados, Jesuits, Rosicrucians, Freemasons, and more. From the 18th century to modern day, we expose it all. That's right, it's the Illuminati comic from Donut and Paranoid American. Get yours now at illuminaticomic.com.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't call me, I'll call you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Money stacking up, I got things to do. Getting rich, making moves, that's the cruise. Phone on silent, I ain't hearing you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Paper chasing, that's what I'm into. Busy running, gotta keep it true. Don't call me, I'll call you. I'm on the go, you know the vibe. Whipping the whip, I'm taking the ride. You hitting my line, I'm letting it slide. I got the hustlers nationwide. Running machine, counting it fast. Blowing my phone, I'm chasing a bag. Hanging on top of the chick in the chat. I'm on a mission, I'm doing the math. Ice on my wrist, it's looking like snow. Diamonds so cold, they hit it like whoa. Don't need distractions, I'm stacking the dough. When I'm done, you know I let you know. Don't call me, I'll call you. Money stacking up, I got things to do. Getting rich, making moves, that's the cruise. Phone on silent, I ain't hearing you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Paper chasing, that's what I'm into. Busy grinding, gotta keep it true. Don't call me, I'll call you. Rain, but I ain't gon' pick up. I'm in the crack, gotta get my racks up. Pushing the gas, I ain't never gon' stop. Grinding so hard, I'm taking the top. Backbone thick, pockets on swole. You hitting my line, I'm letting it go. Let it do so clean, dripping and go. You ain't on my level, you already know. Stay in your lane, I'm running the game. Phone on silent, you know the name. Make any moves, stacking the change. Don't need no drama, ain't playing no games. Don't call me, I'll call you. Money stacking up, I got things to do. Getting rich, making moves, that's the cruise. Phone on silent, I ain't hearing you. Don't call me, I'll call you. Paper chasing, that's what I'm into. Busy grinding, gotta keep it true. Don't call me, I'll call you. I'm on on the mission, ain't got no time. Told it I since I'm on the grind. Phone on mute, I'm in my prime. Don't call me, I'm cutting the line. Pocket so fat, pocket so big. Blowing my phone, I'm chasing the cheese. I'm in the top, it's a different breed. Focus on money, I'm feeling at ease. Making these plays, running the scope. Don't need your call, I'm ready for more. Playing on me, I'm setting the tone. When I get there, I hit up your phone.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Here comes Santa. Here comes the world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Big up yourselves and welcome back to another Friday night edition of Secret Society of Good Guys. It has been far too long. We missed you so much, and Abbie will be joining us. She's just running a little behind, so you guys can send her energy and a special gift since it's been a while since we've seen you guys. We brought what up, Donut?
What up, yo?
Whoop, whoop.
What up? What
Don't
up?
call me, I call you.
Yeah, you right? I'm just
so
like,
good.
like I just want to get up and like twerk with the ass that I don't got.
Money stacking. You ain't got a clue.
What you
Hi.
guys doing? What you guys doing, good guys?
How you doing?
Sipping on coffee.
I love seeing all y'all together at that Bro Grove in that picture that you put in there. That was so cool.
You were missed.
I wish I was there.
Yeah,
It was something special in that there's nothing else really going on, anything like that. I mean, there's a few that are kind of similar, but we weren't at any of those ones. So this one was kind of special to have a bunch of people that believe in some pretty weird variety of stuff, but all together in a room and laughing and having a good time and just interacting and meeting. So it's something that doesn't happen in real life. It was like a weird real life Twitter thread in a way. And
Yeah.
I was glad to be a part of it because I've never experienced anything like it.
yeah,
That's hilarious.
it was dope. It was dope.
Did you like it? Was your first time, Layla? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first official one, but it's kind of the second kind of. Donut was
Yeah.
at the first one.
Yeah.
Did you have fun though? The people, good people?
Oh, I had a great time. I met so many great minds. It was like so fucking surreal to be in a room of like people who are like aware. And it's just mind boggling. I dream about that. I've dreamt about that for so long, man. I want to be surrounded by people who just like know like real shit. And then to be surrounded in real life, I was humbled,
The
man.
only
It was
person we ran into the whole time that even had a problem was some random normie at Hooters that was like acting like a hypothetical tough guy about someone talking about his hypothetical wife. It was the dumbest thing, but it was also kind of a reminder. It was this weird thing that I do this annual ritual where I'll go to like a mall, like an old school shopping mall with a JCPenney and a Lids and all that. And I'll just do it like once a year. So I'm like, oh, that's why I don't come here. And it was kind of like that. I was like, you have to like tap into the normies every once in a while and just get a temperature check and be like, oh, okay, that's what you're on. Okay.
It was weird.
Yeah, it's like we almost forgot. We were all even at a Waffle House or even sitting on a table, and it was just like the good guys hanging out in the back, like a bubble of like our little magic tree fort builds around us. And I forget that the outside world is still like the same shitty, cruel, taxing thing. And I mean taxing. Like I forget. And so we're all sitting there, and we talked a little bit about it on Sunday, but the same as most conspiracies, there's few things in life I have my doctorate in. Like, you know, like where I'm like, Layla, I know as another person who has their doctorate in restaurants, we can have a different conversation. It's like certain things in life you just get this doctorate in. Fights, UFC fights, I have my PhD to the point that I will become an autist, like asking me about Tom Hanks and like Forrest Gump. And I'm like, and this, and this. And I'm like, shut up. So other people they might want other conversation. They might not want to watch the fight. They might just want to carry on. And so I'm like, let me keep it down. The same way when we were at Brohemian Grove and there was somebody on stage and they were talking about how Lisa Marie Presley was married to Michael Jackson and they had children together. I was losing my mind. I was at Thomas's table, like, that's wrong information. Like, I wanted to be like, but you're wrong. They don't have children together. But I didn't want to disrespect anyone on stage.
Who did he have children with?
Debbie Rowe, some rando like nurse.
He would be,
I don't even know why her name's in my brain.
He used to smash her over at Mar-a-Lago. Trump wrote a whole page on it. I could read it to y'all if you like.
Oh, I would love it.
Can you read it like all sensually like?
Yeah, he wrote a whole page
like
about
Jackson. Sensual like Michael Jackson.
That would be something good, yeah.
But when we were at the Hooters and we were all nerding out and whatever, just hanging out, some random dude, he just wanted to chat up Layla. And he was just like annoying and drunk, and already the red flags of somebody saying wrong information. But I'm like, I'm not arguing with a drunk person. It's like something already in me. Like, I just won't do it in life. I'm not doing it with a stranger.
I'm so oblivious though. I wasn't putting two and two together. I was just like, oh.
You know what's funny? Like an interesting thing about our juxtaposition is you are like, you're no fucking holds barred. You tell people like it is. You're not fake and phony at all. You're bop, 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 bop. That's how Layla is in real fucking life. But in reality, you're really sweet. Yeah. Like, you're not just out there in the world bop, bop, bopping people. No. You're having like nice conversation. You're like being sweet. Like, you know?
When I need to get bop, 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 I'll get bop, bop.
Like, I'm usually sitting there like a little Wolverine. Like, I'm just sitting there, especially like once you're a certain kind of drunk, you already are a danger to my little Wolverine. Like, I know I'm not a wolf. If you decide to grab me by the nape of my neck, I'm done here. And so having that drunk guy stand right behind me, the only thing that gave me peace that I didn't fully turn around was that Thomas was next to me, which isn't something I get the opportunity of having a lot in life, of being like, oh, like I slept good. Thomas and I shared a room. I slept good. I'm like, oh, that's what it's like to sleep with a man in the house.
Loud.
No, I
was trying without even engaging the drunk dude. I was just doing everything I could to just start leaning right into him, just like body blocked his ass.
Yeah, I saw the body language.
He kind of fizzled out a little bit, but he was ready. He was ready to follow us wherever we were going. He would have drove there easily.
Yeah, if I actually like knew what the whole situation was because I was oblivious to it, then I would have been bra, bra, bra. Like, bro, like, really? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
well, most people aren't a narcissist or like a shitbag that they just assume people are hitting on them. Like, most people just don't assume that, like, up, Layla, this is you. This one's you.
Because a lot of women like are like that. They'll assume like, oh, they're coming to talk. Oh, they just want to hit on us. Oh, they just want no. People just want to have a decent conversation. That's why men are afraid to come up to women nowadays. I'm just like, that's sad. Like, men should be coming up to women nowadays, but it's like women have to make the move now because like men are scared to because automatically, oh, they're just trying to hit on me. Oh, they're just trying to hit on me. And it's like, what happened? Like, isn't that the whole courting thing? Like men coming up to you and like hitting on you and like trying to like get your attention or grab your attention.
Shoot their shot.
Yeah. I like that in a man.
Yeah.
And then if it's a no, it's just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. No, it's not. At first, it's like, no, I'm sorry. You know, I appreciate it. I have a boyfriend. Lie. But, you know,
like
and if
that Misfit shirt you got on, I just noticed the ghost, the crimson
yeah.
ghost.
Is this
Great.
Osiris symbology or Isis or what are the names of all the demonized characters that we have demonized in history?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love the Misfits. I know.
Yeah,
like,
it's a
all
good
their-
punk band.
all their music. I got a bunch of stories about that skull too, and the whole dating thing too. I talked to the elite breeding couple that is pushing people to have kids, and I asked Malcolm and Simone, Malcolm's wife Simone, on arbitrage dating. She wrote all these different books on the Pragmatist Guide to Sexuality.
Sorry to interrupt for 1 second. Hale Balderson. Okay.
Hey, Balderson.
Ben
Ben
Balderson.
In a great mind.
Well, she
He's
was
our
just
resident
saying-
alchemist. Okay,
she
go
was,
on.
she was telling girls to be more aggressive, asking out who they like. So I thought it was interesting. Here's the book, The Art of the Comeback, Donald Trump book, and that's like probably what's going on now is his comeback. And here's the chapter where he's
You
talking
might
about
have it all in there. Like you probably have the whole entire script that we're watching right now. You're like, oh, here's the art of the comeback. Let me flip to the end because that's where we're at right now.
Oh yeah, here's him with all the rabbis, with Hillary Clinton, his wedding right there. It's a great book. It's his best work for business. And right here he says, one of my most interesting moments, this is Donald Trump speaking, one of my most interesting Mar-a-Lago experiences, next to him probably kicking out Epstein because he kicked Epstein out. One of my most interesting Mar-a-Lago experience involved the turmoil over Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley. Michael was a friend of mine and a very good guy, but very different. And then you go through a couple more pages and you skip down here. During the weekend, we saw very little of Michael and Lisa Marie since they stayed up in the tower. Then they made the mistake on a Saturday afternoon of trying to sneak out of Mar-a-Lago and go shopping in disguise on Worth Avenue. Well, the paparazzi found out and all hell broke loose. They were driven in a limousine back to Mar-a-Lago with the paparazzi in pursuit. The rest of the weekend was absolutely wild. Hundreds of cameras surrounded Mar-a-Lago as Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley were stationed in their love nest tower rising high above the house. The press didn't bother them, nor me either, but it was quite a frenzy. And I'll just skip.
That's
right
the
here.
secret society of good guys meeting in plain sight.
This is
That's
just,
what I think. Like
This
this
is
is how
white
glittery
hats.
red pill
This
I
is-
am.
This is
They're at a White House having a meeting at the Southern White House. So it's almost like the Southern Army is already planning an attack against the deep state.
Michael Jackson's dressed up like a general.
He is. It's funny to me, like Trump goes to his military school, and then you have these certain things like these movies like White Squall, where it's this military boy and certain of them are lost at sea. To keep things in the family and keep things trusted, good guys would have to fake their death too. And so
Well,
some of this stuff, I think Elvis, and he just left the building.
well, so this is
Took off the fat suit.
this is the last paragraph I'll read because it goes into them smashing, and I don't want to sound like I'm just throwing stuff out there. People often ask me whether or not the relationship was a sham, and I give them an emphatic no. I was there, and the magic of Mar-a-Lago brought it out, because after they left, it didn't work so well. I can tell you, for at least a period of time, these two folks were really getting it on.
The magic of Mar-a-Lago. The
Of
Mar
the
of it
sea
all.
and lagoon.
I believe that's a
Lago.
thing.
Birthing nest place, the freak show, and the tower. It's like the whole the tower.
Do you
Well, if we're gonna
think
get
Mar-a-Lago's
is
magic?
the shaft.
Well,
Him-
also go
Him
on.
kicking Epstein out might have set the trajectory for Epstein's big downfall. Like you took the magic away from him. Like he had like a little magical force field of some kind, and then it got taken out.
And you
Epstein's
can
not
actually
good.
look into that he harassed the Palm Beach Police Department to follow up on Epstein again and again and again and again. That's what everybody always looks at, the New York case with Epstein, but the Palm Beach case with Epstein, so much dirt and there's so many ties. And that's where, like, the same way where they're like, oh, all these people, yeah, like Oprah and Epstein live next door to each other in Palm Beach, or like the Kennedy compound in Palm Beach, or like Trump, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. So in Florida, we have this other thing. It's a little, I think it's around Homestead, the Coral Castle. So if you take what they're telling us the Coral Castle is, but you actually look at what Mar-a-Lago is. Mar-a-Lago is a coral castle. If you've ever been to it or seen it with your eyeballs or come up on it, the whole strip it's on, the street that Mar-a-Lago is on feels just as presidential as standing right in the middle of DC.
Which doesn't
Like-
even feel that presidential. If you ever go to DC,
It feels like
in
boards
front-
are about to
you're
fall
just
down.
like, oh, I'm in the middle of like a city, and there's a house here with a weird lawn, and it's just there's like a restaurant on the corner.
Random. It feels random.
It just feels like they didn't give him enough space. Like the presidential
That's true.
house seems like it would be way bigger. It almost seems like if you were president, you wouldn't want to stay there because it's so outdated. It's like staying at a nice hotel that would have been nice in like the 1890s.
Hmm. Is it still on the market on Zillow?
The
White
White
House?
Yeah.
Listed
Yeah.
in yen.
It was listed. I don't know if it's still listed, but it was listed for I don't know how many million, but it was listed. And I haven't called the White House this weekend.
Hey, yo, I got a
but this
bridge to
weekend.
sell you. You
There,
want to buy the White House? Yo, it's right here.
there's almost like when you're going into Mar-a-Lago, before you even go into that whole side of the water, it's almost like they have their own drawbridge, like very own 2-lane bridge. Like it's very interesting the way it's set up, even for defense. And then you think of every king that they've ever told us about through history. They always live on the edge of the water.
Yeah.
Like the president, the general, the whoever your chief, whatever word you want to give this thing, usually the head of your command would live at the border of your thing. They're the head of your thing, not all buried in, nestled in your thing. It just feels wild.
Well, more escape routes too.
Who was the guy, the actor who built a replica White House and during like the whole 2020 of it all?
Tyler
and that-
Perry.
Yeah, that was like a huge conspiracy of like how Biden is actually there and not at the White House, and that it's all a fucking script, and that's the stage that they use as the Tyler Perry house. And I'm like, yo, it's a fucking complete replica, and we have evidence to kind of like prove this theory to be true with like the type of settings that they're in. So I don't know what's real.
I
Donald
think
Trump
you're
says
on
we're
it.
watching a movie.
And Donald Trump was just on Joe Rogan right after Sam Tripoli. Shout out to Sam Tripoli,
yeah.
which is so wild. If you're living in my fever dream, that would happen. And so like it's just a wild fucking, like, what world are we in right now that like our homie was just in the chair before Donald, like all like some guy, he's just like we're watching a movie. Sam, he's a little tiny character, but to us he's a pretty main character.
He's
So-
the conspiracy world Kevin Bacon though. Now we're like 1 degree
Closer.
Tripoli away from Trump,
To
right?
Trump.
Yeah. And the one thing, if you watch Sam's episode, and I give Sam shit, but the one thing that I will say is awesome about his episode when he sits down on Rogan, very first 10 minutes, Smith Mundt Act. Very first 10 minutes. If you only learn one thing from a conspiracy, if you could learn one thing from Rogan, if you could just study that and know that that's what's happening right now, and then Donald Trump comes onto Rogan. And so I thought it was super interesting that Trump stared at Rogan and must have said central casting to his face 10 times.
10 times.
And so
More.
I think central casting is this thing you hear Donald Trump say again and again and again and again. Oh, this person's straight from central casting. They were good looking, Joe. And I like how he said, oh, they were huge. They were big guys, beautiful. Central casting. They could have been Tom Cruise. We all know Tom Cruise is 5'7" and Joe Rogan's literally 5'3",
and he likes to fuck fish. Apparently,
we always see every time Rogan always takes pictures with everyone with the
sorry.
Everybody always takes pictures with like the werewolf at Rogan's, and they're standing with Rogan. But Trump didn't take a picture, and I'm like, because what was he gonna hold him in his hand? What would that even have looked at like? Fucking Joe Rogan.
He's 6'3", and his son is 7 foot, 6'9", 7 foot almost.
Nephilim.
And now who likes to fuck fish?
Tom Cruise.
I also heard Kanye does too. But
I don't know about that, but true, Tom Cruise likes to fuck fish.
There was a South Park episode.
Like a sheepfish?
Fish. Like fish in the sea.
We need to just have that pool of fish always on the ready for
this.
Like
I just really like the feeling of teeth.
Well, it's the fish sticks.
He's a fish fucker.
What's the? I don't get the. What's the fish fuck? Like I don't even understand. Like you just open the fish's mouth and stick your dick in. Like what's?
I think. Hold on.
It's really. It's almost never complicated when this is what's involved. Like whatever you would think. Yeah. Something just goes into the mouth.
That's what Odorous Orangus sung about. From Guar.
We need a Guar voice coming out of a sheephead fish. And it could be about Tom Cruise fucking fish.
I swear to God, just go open your TikToks. This is went viral. Everyone was posting videos of like, oh my God, Tom Cruise is fucking fish. There's articles of him fucking fish. And
Your
I'm like, what the
algorithm is so this is always makes me laugh. Like when they tell you, like yours is nothing, but it'll be like a guy and they'll be like, oh, I keep getting all this anal stuff on my, and I'm like, that's your algorithm, homie.
Fish fucking though?
So fish fucking, I've never even heard this. It's blowing my mind. Sorry,
it's
go on.
Like the early algorithm days of YouTube.
It must be something akin with mermaids. Like if you're into mermaid and they give you mermaid lore, then slowly you work into fish fucking.
Maybe it was something that they put into the Ethernet out there algorithm just to create some kind of like meme spell for him to manifest that so you can actually fuck a mermaid if they exist. I mean, we don't know how they play magic.
If you wanted to get really technical with it, right? He's one of Scientology's biggest sort of spokespeople, right? And Scientology came from L. Ron Hubbard, and L. Ron Hubbard came from Aleister Crowley in many ways. So it seemed, if someone told you that Aleister Crowley was fucking a fish, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's doesn't sound like that's very much on brand. It would be like, oh yeah, that's something that he would do.
Yeah,
so it doesn't
far-fetched.
seem that weird that, you know, the highest level, there might be some, like he's doing it in order to clear the thetans out of him. Like he got clear, and then like you got to do a certain fish fucking ritual to get rid of those like last pesky thetans that are hanging on.
What if it's not fish and it's like, sorry to say, Donna, but dolphins?
That's
and
mammals.
Or whales.
Yeah, it's probably that. It's the mammals. So Elon Musk was recently kidnapping sea life for government experiments. I mean, did you hear about that? Yeah.
Please go elaborate.
He made it sound like he was under duress by the government, like someone forced him to do this because they didn't have the technology to do it without him.
Yeah, so they kidnap different animal life, mammal life, and stuff in the ocean with seals. They would kidnap a seal, put headphones on it, and play different audio frequencies of sonic booms. And like they also were looking out for whales and the whole Dolphin Illuminati dolphin experiments. were for the whales because the whales have a bigger brain than a dolphin. And the reason they were doing these drug experiments on the dolphins and sexual stuff, speaking of fucking the fishes, excuse my language, but they were doing that to the dolphin because the dolphin brain is similar to our brain. And they hypothesized that the whale is more spiritual, and their religion that the whales carry is more spiritual than us. So they wanted to talk to the entities down in Atlantis. This was funded by the government.
Avatar too.
And it's in Avatar too. And it's like in an occult stuff. And it's in Scientology as well, the dolphin stuff. But
doesn't that Dr. Mutwa talk about this too, about the dolphins and the whales and how they're the Delphi, like Chaney says, and oracles, and how they are key to like connect to higher source or the creator or whatever you want to say, connected to certain star planets, systems, or planetary systems.
Not to mention that goddess Tanit that we had talked about earlier, like the face of Baal, the consort of Baal. That was one of the ways that she was depicted. She was depicted with dolphins because she was a Phoenician goddess. So the dolphins were sort of seen as like these aviaries of the ocean.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you brought up Tanit. I totally forgot about a dolphin connection to Tanit. But the ball goddess isn't like she throwing her hands up like Moloch.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Because Elon
blap, blap, blap.
Elon
That's funny. Have this image and put guns in her hands. And put on Tanit, you're on notice. But Thomas brought this up. If you guys get the opportunity, you can go over to the Nephilim Death Squad, and I think you can stream Brohemian Grove. But in Thomas's thing about adrenochrome and going into these different goddess and god worship and everything, this stuff all blew my mind. I thought it was so interesting. And I thought even the Moloch of it all, like, I was like, oh, this is just a form of sacrifice. It's not a god. Like, I didn't know that.
It's just convenient. I mean, I guess that's my bias when we talk about like these ancient religions. I look at through the lens of what's the most convenient thing, because that's probably what survives the test of time. It's not what's correct. It's usually like whatever fits in the most little slots and fills the most roles for people. And a lot of the time, people would come from their various religions, and they got their own war god, and they got their own like fishing god, because that's where they've always been to. And you move to a bigger city, your city falls, and you go somewhere else, and they're like, well, no, this is our war god, this is our fish god. So then if you want to resolve those conflicts, and if like a huge influx of people come and they're like, no, our fish god looks like this and it has this name, eventually they'll be like, all right, we'll use your name, but our guy's gonna like keep the trident, or our guy's gonna keep the two horns on his head. They're like, well, that doesn't make sense, like, oh, let's just trust me, we'll keep the horns, we'll keep the name. And I think that happens over and over again until you actually get gods that are starting to be worshipped based on just convenient rituals. So like Molech turns to Moloch because maybe there was a god that kind of sounded like Malik was the name for one of the kings. So once you got a practice that sounds like a name of a god, they're just like, well, let's just call that the god. And if it catches on, it catches on. And that's kind of it seems that's the story of human history. It's not super mystical. It's just like what's convenient for people.
Yeah, somebody just posted Dogon, Donut, Dogon.
That's another.
Well, there's the doggone and there's Dagon.
Dagon. Maybe I'm thinking of Dagon. Yeah. So Dagon is the fish god.
Mm-hmm.
Like
is that the mitre hat?
Wears like, yeah, exactly.
The Babylonian mitre hat. I know, that's what I was thinking of when
Tom Cruise is fucking.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Fucking Dagon.
Two things that were going on in my weird autist brain. One, I was like, oh my gosh, is the Pope hat just like them all mocking we're fish fuckers? And it's like a fish with an open mouth on its head. So it's like showing even that like head into fish, and we're seeing that kind of idea. The other weird thing is when the Italians say they're going to make you sleep with the fishes, is this something to do with making you fuck a fish?
Well, the thing is that all ancient religions and symbols come from sex. Like it all goes back to astrology and sex. So in religion, that's also utilized. And it's funny because like I'm starting to see a lot of people, I don't know how far deep I'm not even going to say it, but I'm not going to say it. I'm just not going to say it because I don't know about YouTube and different words, but
dance around it. Sometimes that's the fun when we have to try to guess what conspiracy.
Okay, so like I'm
Fauci ouchie or the chrome of
Okay, 2 words, first word, 3 syllables.
Jordan Maxwell broke all this down in every religion. He has broken down the sexual symbolism in every single religion. And then I'm noticing people take it for their own propaganda. So they'll like attack a certain religion and be like, look, these people are evil. Look what they're doing. But they're totally leaving out, all religions have this sexual symbolism in every single one connected to astrology as well. And one of the ones that Jordan Maxwell would talk about, it was the rabbis praying in the davening and how he was like, they're making love. That's what they're doing. And I'd go to temple and I would laugh because I'd be like, that's what I was thinking
about
too. I was thinking that.
I think about love. Sorry. That was Nimrod.
In Nimrod, there's the Green Day album, Nimrod, as well. But it's all symbolism. If you go to the pyramids, right? They got all the phallic stuff. The Washington Congress means sexual intercourse, and that's what Congress means. Rock and roll, that's what it means. Like everything goes back to that. You can't like.
Well, the Washington obelisks and the domes, it's all just like feminine shapes and masculine shapes, and it's all about the intersection of the two things. They're just molding more. It's just Crowleyan magic all over again, right?
And it's so interesting. A sundial out of a phallic thing like the monument with the Vesica Pisces below. And you wonder what with the sun, what it does, and then its erection supposed to represent. But I even think as above, so below, DC is an underground. Like everything about DC is underground. And there's something about those monoliths that they must represent a magic because that's the City of London, DC,
right? Because imagine
the Vatican.
That, how little is known about the underground Jack Nicholson, Hugh Hefner sort of tunnels. Like everyone knows that there's tunnels, but to what extent, exactly where they go, how long they've been in commission, all of that, and then now apply the top secret nature that would be DC. Like I truly believe that there's something more than just fiction to like the National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. Like there's got to be actual like an inverted underground pyramid full of treasure somewhere in DC just because like the Masons like would have made that so. Like that would be important for the whole as below so above sort of formula.
I think there was a big ritual that went down on the 33rd floor at Bill's Four Seasons Hotel. On the 33rd floor, the floor below and the floor above, as above, so below, was closed down. The story broke, but then they just like removed it quickly after it broke in Atlanta. I don't know if you looked into this story, but it was weird. It just happened.
You know what I think is happening, and it's strange, but this is how bizarre my brain is, and I'm just going to say it because this is just making sense to me. So, we had the gold rush back in the day, and we have what we know as earthquake machines and weather wars and all of this. And from my understanding and my research, gold is not actually from some meteorite that just landed and spread across the globe, because that's not real. But what I do know is that during earthquakes, during the pockets, I guess in between the plates where the earthquakes happen, because man can make earthquakes now, that's where gold is produced during the friction and the chemistry of that process. That's where gold is made. And what I'm seeing right now through my TikTok feed is just like a gold rush happening in all these parts of the world, whether it's Albania, whether it's in Africa, whether it's not just gold, but like lithium and all these minerals. And I feel like during every reset, they do this, to not only have population control, but also to extract gold from earth. That's a technique that they figured out. And I just feel this in my gut that this is like a secret gold rush that they're not talking about. And they do it every 100 years just to extract the gold. And they figured out that they can produce it by producing earthquakes. So it's all in the veins.
Do you think that's another thing that like Donald Trump says over and over and over again is we have liquid gold under our feet. We have liquid gold under our feet. And Kamala wants to stop fracking. And really, in reality, if you take the average American doesn't give a fuck about fracking. Like the average American has no fucking idea. I would say if you take the average American and ask them about fracking, they're like, oh, that's really bad.
Yeah.
Like they would just be like, that makes sinkholes. There's like the other stuff we've been told about it. So I think
I feel like your opinion might differ depending on like if they're fracking like under your literal like land that you have a deed to or whatever versus it happening 1,000 miles away.
They want us to believe it's oil.
I
but
made
I don't think
fracking
it's oil.
equipment.
I
That
think
was in
it's-
one of my lifetimes. I actually was a welder
You monster.
for a company that welded
How many
fracking
polar
equipment.
bears have you killed, ma'am?
Purposefully. No, I really didn't know what it was for a long time. And then when I saw like it pretty much is just a big, huge spring machine that just it's an earthquake machine.
Yeah.
Everything about a fracking machine is an earthquake machine.
Don't they show you in the movie Ocean's 11, I think? That they had to create an earthquake, like a mini earthquake, to like get everyone out of the hotel so they can rob the fucking safe. And they show you the technology in your face on how they can produce a fucking earthquake. I'm just like,
I just want to shout out real quick from Three Eyes. You're so sweet. And y'all are amazing.
Thank you
Keep
so
up
much.
amazing content. The world needs the truth, and you guys are spreading. I love you. Thank you for your noble, humble sacrifices. So big up your blood clot self.
love you, Three Eyes.
Yeah. You're helping us venture out into the real world with all these normies.
Yeah.
Shout out to Three Eyes.
And it is gonna matter because we do like I feel like I don't think it's bad if we talk about it either. I don't think it has to be a big every 6 months pretty much there's gonna be a Brohemian Grove. Like people can plan those. But the Secret Society of Good Guys wants to go on a cruise.
Yeah.
And we think it would be very feasible for everyone. We think it would be less expensive than driving to the middle of nowhere, Florida, and trying to find a hotel in a ranching town. It is like, and I think do that too. It's fun, but some people have families or some people are ladies and they don't want
Wait,
to just
what?
stand in parking lots in the middle
What's
of
that?
nowhere.
What's a
Like
woman?
they want to do things and they maybe want to dress up and like maybe feel a way about themselves. So a cruise has everything from casual to fancy. You can do what you want to do. You can hang out with who you want to hang out with. But then if we had a couple of content creators that we dug, then they could all set up times that they're running shows. We do shows together. And then we just hang out with our fans doing shit that we don't have to be like, okay, I'm a wedding planner and we're going to do pin the tail on the donkey at 3:00. You guys, let's all meet here. And then let's try to organize like cattle, stray kittens. Like that's kind of what I feel like, where I'm like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just go on one of these cruises for like $200, $300 for a couple of days. And I think that seems fun.
Conspiracy cruise. There's a pretty crazy backstory to this because I looked in. There was something called Conspiracy Con that went on for a while. This is where I first found Michael Sarion. I think was a 2003 Conspiracy Con. It used to be in San Francisco, and then I think at one point they did try and do a conspiracy cruise. But as the guy that was in charge of the whole Conspiracy Con, he ended up getting completely swindled out of all of his money. Like he had to declare bankruptcy and everything, I believe. And like that, like the conspiracy cruise went down for him. So as far as I know, no one has even reattempted a legit conspiracy cruise for over a decade because that was the last person to try it.
Blah, blah.
If you do
You're
the
on notice.
cruise, I'll be there. And I like Princess Cruise. Princess Cruise is the best cruise. And I got to bring back some more of the sexual symbolism because I have more to add on top of the research. If you go to the most leftist website on the planet, it's called the Drudge Report. You'll see that they're just showing Donald Trump doing oral fellatio on the main page. This is one of the biggest news outlets in the entire planet. They're showing Donald Trump doing the 69 most recently. And this has been happening. Yeah, I know. You should pull it up if you could. Drudge Report, because it changes every day. But like what they put on the main thing is Trump doing the 69 fellatio thing. It's hilarious. He's blowing it big time, they're saying. And Biden pulled out, right, of the race. So like this is all just
and Elon's leaning into the cancer, the 69 symbolism, which is also the cancer of it all, that he keeps calling it the 69 prophecy. That once, because they keep watching this graph of Kamala and Trump and like how she went up for a while and then they changed back. And once he hits 69%, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
Great point. Yeah, because it's connected. So like Elon, Trump, they together, and it's all about the 69 prophecy. And Elon comes from the rocket program, which comes from Operation Paperclip and also from Aleister Crowley, Jack Parson type rituals. And Aleister Crowley, 69, Psalm 69 is suck seeds and suck eggs. So it's that too. So there's a connection there with all that. That's quay.
So wait, Trump and Elon are 69ing together?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Kind of what it sounds like. They just wanted to summarize it.
Yeah, no, it's the Drudge Report. It's crazy. It's just saying.
Well, even I think one of the funniest clips that lives in my brain is Trump when Kamala's like, "Don't come here. We don't want you to come here," and Trump's like, "I'm gonna come."
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come. And
I'm gonna come.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Okay, so I kind of want to switch topics because I told my audience that I was coming on here to talk about something, Chaney, with Blink Twice, and I want to make sure I don't forget, because you know so much about that film. I don't know if Layla or Paranoid have seen this.
I've seen it.
Blink Twice.
Oh, it's fabulous.
With Channing Tatum O'Neal.
With Chan, yeah. Chan's in it. I named Chan after Channing Tatum because of the handsomeness, obviously.
Oh.
Yeah. And Jackie Chan too. It's about the P. Diddy parties. Like it's gotta be. They're all wearing white, like the white party.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta be it. And I know
when we were talking about the GHB, like I feel like I kind of spread that rumor, and then that's what everyone's stuck on.
Yeah, you did. You talked about the baby oil,
and
right?
then the idea that it's baby oil, and they keep saying these words over and over again. The Fed is never taking baby oil, and if it was G, they would call it that. So the idea that they're sticking with baby oil, it's either it leans into words that we can't say that Thomas is writing a book on and does a really great, we'll do episodes on it, or I have done it in the past, but we'll stay away from it. But it's either that, or in the movie Blink Twice, they use this red flower as representation all the time of what people on the island are harvesting to make these people forget. Like they become completely susceptible and just forget what's going on. And they lose track of time completely. So then once somebody's controlling your time, they're your God. That is it. And then these people are just waking up with dirt under their nails. Like, what happened last night?
Yeah.
and then they just go
right
on.
there, they got dirt on them.
What's the drug you said? Scopolamine, right?
Scopolamine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my best impression of that too, because that was something that the government was using to induce specifically amnesia, and even in some cases they were trying to use it to like almost induce comas, but they ended up using insulin for that. But scopolamine like fits every different angle that this movie kind of plays around with.
And this GBH thing where they're forgetting their memories, and this connection to Diddy as well. There's reports coming out that that's what happens to these artists, that they forget what happens and they get in a lot of like terrible things happen to them, and then they have dirt on them. So I think the dirt thing is kind of crazy, but that's what's happening at these parties is people are forgetting what is going on. They videotape these assaults, and that's the dirt that they have on them. And that's exactly what the movie's about, Blink Twice. And there's Proactive, which P. Diddy and Justin Bieber are both ambassadors for. And the Proactive is like this ritual that all growing up, it was a status symbol. If you were rubbing this oil on your face, if you were like a kid, you're rubbing this oil on your face, and it's green, and the venom to heal the forgetting stuff is this green venom in the movie. So it's just a wild. Do you have anything on Proactive or thoughts on that Bieber connection?
The amount of celebrities that are proactive, it made me think of like all the Jessica Simpson, like the amount of these teenage celebrities that go through like Disney kids that almost have to like right before we're allowed to get sexy, we have to show the world we had acne. And this is like the way they let us go as a child and let us walk into the like new adult version of ourselves, the new Ariana Grande. And it's like, I'm not a Nickelodeon kid anymore. I'm going through my hormones, just so you guys know they're all pumping. And then we all see that it's talked about again and again, whether it's 11 from Stranger Things or whether it's Catch Me Outside. How about that? There's a whole millions and millions of men that are waiting for these girls to turn 18. And then if they have an OnlyFans, they can be millionaires in 6 weeks, like comfortable millionaires, just because that's how many people were waiting for their 18th birthday. So it's like almost like the Proactive is some kind of ritual that we get for a lot of these celebrities that they're about to sexualize. Yeah, they're like, Justin Bieber is about to show his dick. You know, like this Britney Spears is about to show her cooch.
And if you wanted to get into like the symbolic aspect of it too, to like just read all the way deep into it, if they get dirt on them and then they start doing the Proactive ads, it's almost like this symbolic ritual of like, okay, I'm gonna somehow like wash off that dirt that everyone's got on me, but it's not like really gone forever because, you know, like it was just like a symbolic washing.
What do you think about that? The lizard in the beginning. What does that mean? Because they made a point.
Speaking of lizard, this is ironic. A follower, Hills Have Eyes, just sent me something so fucking amazing, and it ties to the whole MAGA of it all. And speaking of lizard, Set. Okay, the son of Set, or no, Set had a son named MAGA. I did not know this. This is like a fucking thing. Yeah. You just sent this to me, and it's I guess the crocodile deity called MAGA.
So if you were to reset, like the second coming of Set would be Set's son. So the Great Reset or the Build Back Better, lowercase BBB, or Take a Knee. Maybe you would chant something with your mask on at your ritual, like no justice, no peace, while you took a knee. And so they like lead us in all these rituals that we get to see right on the same like Super Bowl fields where we watch all these other rituals take place, and they all have their numbered backs that all add up to numerology, and you know that they're all messing around with.
It just blowing my mind how many times we've talked about Set and never saw this information. How many times we've talked about it and how many episodes we've done.
So how can I Google this? Because Set, it's very interesting that there's a lot of stories about Set.
This is what it says. Set is the son of Geb, the earth, and Nut, the sky. His siblings are Osiris, Isis, and Nephthys. He married Nephthys and fathered Anubis and Wepwawet. I can't even say that. In some accounts, he had relationships with foreign goddesses, Anat and Astarte. From these relationships is said to be born a crocodile deity named Maga.
Maga. Yeah, I see it right here. That's crazy.
And Anat.
Well, then we also
It's a
have
demon deity named Maga.
Yeah, I feel like it's like everything about gators in the sewers in New York, or even how they had that movie come out with Will Smith and Harlequin, and also the gator, like part gator that crawls in the sewer man. That feels like akin to like those kind of rituals, like Monkey Man coming out now. It's like that was a big prevalent thing.
Well, Kim K just dressed up as an albino alligator.
Before we fly into that, hold on, there was something about the island still in P. Diddy. Okay, Channing Tatum was also, before he was famous, he was a Sean John model. And he was also an Abercrombie and Fitch model. So you have Abercrombie and Fitch attaches to Les Wexner, attaches to Ashton Kutcher, but all of these people were on Sean John's runway. You have this movie come out. Channing is the star. He is dating
Mike. That's how he got
also
famous.
Magic Mike 33, and you know the M.
Well, I mean, he has to I think he's a prostitute in it.
But he's in real life. He's with Zoe Kravitz, and Zoe Kravitz's father's Lenny Kravitz, who has island in the Bahamas that no one fucking talks about. And then he was married to Lisa Bonet, who. She's one of the few people that doesn't go in at Bill Cosby. I think Bill Cosby, there's a good chance Bill Cosby was framed, and most of the people that you see that are accusing him are completely AI. There's something he was about to own as much of a movie studio as Michael Jackson was about to own of Sony Music. And there's no way that was allowed to happen in the ritual of Hollywood.
Well, I did see some weird interviews of Bill Cosby and talking about some like weird drugs that, was given. And
everybody talked about Spanish fly. Everybody. It used to be a thing. You could probably find Robin Williams talking about it, Billy Crystal talking about it, Whoopi Goldberg talking about it.
Comic books.
Like
that was a normal thing.
It was like talking about X-ray glasses. You would talk about Spanish fly. Yeah, it was just like a very normal. It's curious to me what they
date rape drug like every 13-year-old needs.
Yeah. Hey, it's Spanish fly. It's gonna turn this girl so horny.
Yeah,
it's gonna make this girl so fucking horny.
That was how it was sold. It would be like, put this in her drink, and she'll be all over you in 17 minutes.
Oh my god, 17.
But really, it was probably scopolamine. But I think there's all these real life attachments to these people, and then the art they're showing us on screen. And so I didn't want to get away from that and to walk into the fucking Kim Kardashian costume, which is so weird that you guys were talking about alligator and the alligator thing. I'll pull it up and you go on, Donut.
And Heidi Klum, all ET like. It's like weird, lizardy.
I wonder what Elon was dressed up as for Halloween.
Yeah, I wonder if he did. He's dark MAGA. He doesn't need to dress up.
So he's protecting the force field shield, according to witches, because there's Kim Kardashian dressed up as a Kardashian, Star Trek, or an albino alligator. But I pointed out years ago how the Kardashians are connected to this alien agenda, because in Star Trek the race of Kardashians is it is the real soft disclosure, just like with
shout out to my boo.
Oh, look, she wrote it on Kim's page.
Yeah, that's why I was like, shout out to my boo. I'll go over and like it and make it 199. Like, somebody go make it 200.
Dang.
Let's push this one over oh wait, you can't push it over Kim's actual post. So it's first one right after Kim. That ain't bad.
Well, she's an albino alligator, and there's an Illuminati playing card of the albino alligator too.
Oh, look at people are hip. Look at this person in the blank. We're not going to talk about it. Or vril witchcraft, hive mind control, and an open invitation to demon possession. Those who got the blank will see the fallen ones.
Mhm.
Holy
Damn.
shit. People, I love the reality that we're in right now. That people
And
are,
if you think that you're sleeping around and you're not cautious of who you're sleeping with, and you think you're not, reality check, you are. Like, you are then. And you didn't even need to go to a booth. You didn't need to go to do that. But yeah, if you're sleeping around, just saying.
what was the what were you saying, Donut? It's the Kardashians. I was watching you today too. You
Yeah, the
guys should go check.
Kardashians are like the Star Trek
Yeah.
alien race.
I think
And they're,
that's so
like,
interesting. I'd never
tyrannical.
seen it before.
Yeah, and Star Trek predicts all the future, and just the whole Kardashian like bloodline is crazy. I think there's going to be a huge ritual with Biden, baby Biden, BBB, on November 17th, the 322 day of the year this year. I think he's done on that day because there's a full moon. Today's the new moon, and the full moon is like the completion, right? Where you let go, or maybe it's the other way around. But the full moon on November 15th, there's a 2-day period, 3-day period, or whatever of energy. I think Biden is done for on the 17th, which is the 322 day of the year this year. This is the day that young Dolph passed away. Well, he was assassinated on November 17th. There's just so many connections to the full moon in a 2-day time window. So
I was going to
prediction of
ask
it.
you too, because Elon says the 6-9 prophecy, but it's like not just the 6-9 prophecy. It's like 6-9 420. Like that's the whole. It's 69.420, and maybe his birthday is 69 days after 420.
Yeah, he
or
said
something
that.
like that.
Yeah, it goes into mad symbolism with the 420. The 420 is super occult. It's where he comes from with the Operation Paperclip. That's Adolf's birthday, and 420 it continues on with the CIA in the Waldos at the Grateful Dead programming of smoking weed. And Aleister Crowley wrote a book on 420 as well called The Aleph, I believe, something like that. Aleph, Liber Aleph.
Trying to pull up also all of Heidi Klum's costumes. I wanted to pull up her ET as well, but I was like, every year she does a really crazy costume, and she's been like the Vril here. Oh,
I think the Coca-Cola cans, sugar-free, is some of the Vril liquid that Elon and all them celebrities be drinking. Because if you like look at the book, The Coming Race, it's the same color code of the Diet Coke cans that Elon drinks with his Vril staff. So Elon posted this image of a Vril staff and all these different Diet Cokes. And if you look at the book, The Coming Race, it is the same color of the cover of that.
The albino alligator is blowing my mind. Why would you even call it an albino alligator? Why would you ever, you're like, you know what I got to be this year? An albino alligator.
Out of all the things in the world.
Yeah,
that's what she
it
wants to
just,
be.
it feels like it's
a spell.
Well, when you say spell, there is these things called Cabinet of Curiosities, and they originally started as alchemical labs, and anyone who was anyone would have a crocodile stuffed and hanging from the ceiling, in like a long story short, in like an inversion where it's like, I took this thing that is in the water and I'm suspending it above the ceiling. Look how magical I am. Look at like how much range that I got. And if you had an albino alligator or crocodile hanging from your ceiling in one of these shops, it was kind of like flexing, like that. Like you just walked into a Gucci store. You just walked into like a high level magic shop. And this was, I mean, I think it was still a thing, but if you go back and look at a lot of these old medieval manuals and the grimoires that depicted these cabinet curiosities, they all have an alligator hanging from the ceiling somewhere. So like that thing kind of represents the level of magic you got. Like, who's got the rarest crocodile hanging from their ceiling?
So many of my rules of magic always go back to King Arthur and Madame Mim and the battle that Merlin and her have.
Do you remember how Merlin won that fight too?
Yeah, he became a germ and beat the dragon. And so I think it's so curious. Now you think about it, who has the symbology of the sword in the head of the dragon? It's like all like the King George symbolism, but then you have the King Arthur where it leads into the Red Cross again. So I just think it's so curious. Like, how do you beat the dragon? Do they take it down with a fake germ? It's so wild. Like it, and the germ was just a spell. It was nothing ever real. It was like, I'm just a tiny little living microbe and I'm going to take over your system. And then he sneezes. It's just a common cold. I feel like even saying that might get me taken down.
Oh yeah, we're down. We're gone.
Make
That doesn't
sure you
exist
guys,
anymore. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but no one even gets that anymore. It's gone.
No.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with hypnosis because the television's not screaming it all day.
I was seeing something about people, and I feel like I'm not the only one. I taste things and smell things, but not like I used to. Like my sense of fucking smell used to be so good. I could dissect like what notes were in something. Now I'm like, my palate was so good. I could match foods in a way. Now I just have to go by what I know. It's like in there. And so I wonder even how much of it am I creating by like, this is a grape and it's cold and it pops. And so this is the taste of grape in your mouth. But I never really feel like I have ever been 100% sense. And I don't feel like the only one that like taste and smell.
Well, the craziest part of that to me is that your olfactory sense, your sense of smell, is the one that ties you to memories the strongest. It is the strongest link that you've got to the same way that if you haven't smelled something and then all of a sudden whatever like your grandma used to wear or like someone that you haven't seen since you were a child, you smell that, you'll be transported back there immediately, more so than visual or hearing or any other sense. That olfactory is like a direct. And what happens after 2019 and the great event that we shall not say its name, but now all of a sudden it's almost like you've destroyed memories because some people will never be able to tap into that olfactory sense and get those vivid memories the same way ever again. And that almost seems like something that goes completely dismissed, which feels very important to me.
Seems sad, so sad. But then it also makes me think like, what if we're gonna get it back? Because I always like secret society of good guys. We lost our sense of smell and taste a little for a reason, and we're missing some of the trauma and amp up that's going on around us all the time from the like 5G and from the whatever that is supposed to be put into like our trauma center. That like this reminds me of like OJ Simpson driving in a Bronco. Like I don't know why, but it's just churning up. Like I don't get to smell that stuff that would naturally churn up stuff. I can't quite put my finger on why I feel that emotion. So it could be good too.
You know what's interesting? Speaking of emotion, I stumbled upon this story of this doctor, and her name was Dr. Becca Marina, and she studied her own blood and the physical nature and emotional nature of it. So she took up 4 to 5 samples of her blood, and she studied them under, I believe it's called the dark something microscope, the dark field microscope. So she noticed that when she was sad, her blood cells would literally turn into the shape of teardrops. Like they would speed up, was one of the traits, and they would literally turn into teardrops. Then she studied her other sample, and she noticed that when she was in a state of sadness, she took that sample of her blood being in the state of sadness, and she looked under the microscope, not sadness, love. She noticed that her cells started to sparkle and slow down and be in the rhythm of like natural state, being in the state of love. like the perfect rhythm per se. And then she also studied another sample of, let me read my notes because this was a long story. Hold on quickly. Oh, when she was anxious, her blood cells would clump up and started moving quickly with tension. But the craziest part of this was when she was sick, the cells were identical in the same state. Now, the even crazier part is the last experiment they did was when she invited colleagues to review the results. And what they ended up doing was when they grouped her blood cells into 4 different groups, colleagues came in and picked 2 of the groups of cells that were already tested, prayed over them for an hour. What happened to them blew their minds. The blood fluid that was prayed over not only shined, but it was glowing in immense light. And you can see this through the dark field microscope. And it was like mind blowing, like the power of prayer, like for a long period of time over something, can bring this form of light energy into yourself or into your system. So it blew my mind. Like, you can research this yourself.
Not in a woo-woo way, and in like a Jesus way. Like my
whatever.
mom, I swear to you, I have seen her pray, like put her hands on like somebody's breast cancer lump, and then like the next day them call and be like, Patty, it's all the way gone.
My mom
Like
too.
my mom and her, I tease my mom sometimes and call her a Jesus witch because of any of her weird rituals that she does, whether it's holy water or oil, or has her, like, she is a prayer, like almost to the point it almost seems like OCD in ways to me when she's like, oh, I couldn't sleep last night. I was up praying for 3 hours. I'm like, what? And she's like, it like helps her sleep, like it soothes her anxiety, but she just feels like if she has an anxiety, it's usually about somebody specific, and then she has to heavy pray about that person. And I will tell you, in my life, it's very few things I've ever gotten away with. If something really shitty or scary or life-threatening ever happened to me, like I've even had my mom call me and get a hold of me at 2 a.m, and I was like, Mom, I'm fine. Why are you calling? I'm not worried about you. Where's your friend? And she said the person by name who was in a car accident. Like she just has like a sixth sense of
Yeah.
it's like, I call her a Jesus witch because she would never give, like everything. She'd be like, oh, my Holy Spirit. Oh,
Same with me. My mom is like unbelievable. Like anytime migraine or whatever it is, like she will do like her blowing praying method. Like she'll like put her hands and rub and like pray over the area and blow on it. Like there's this whole thing. And I swear to God, like you could just feel it like come out of you, whatever that tension is. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to say it's not witchy. It's not a witch thing. It's a belief thing. When you feel like you have that connection with source and you believe that you can heal, you can do it.
My
Anyone
mom
can do
tells
it.
everyone. She's like, and she'll tell, like, one of her best friends is like a brilliant, brilliant woman. And so, but my mom, it doesn't matter if you were a billionaire sitting next to her. She's like, oh, no one has my faith. Like she feels like her faith is so valuable. And so she's like, I believe like a 5-year-old believes in Santa. Like there is no option of Santa not coming.
Yeah.
Like my mom believes with her full mustard seed. And I always think it's interesting if you look up Eye of Newt, it is just mustard seed. And so you have all these spells the witch will use an Eye of Newt. She just needs your belief to start this thing. If you look at like alchemy, you have to believe in it first. Mentalism is the first rule. And so it's just like no matter what you take, when people are like, here's a secret. Nope. The only thing the secret taught you is how to do dark, selfish magic.
And also, you know what's part of that secret too, which I'm understanding more, the whole be like water, Bruce Lee. It's like letting things go and having that belief like water that you're on that path that you need to be and just flow with it instead of having a negative energy on things. Like I just talked about, like having that sad energy or that angry or anxious energy. You're fucking your whole system up. You're giving it static that doesn't belong there. So when you're in the constant state of being blessed, baby, and that constant state of love, you're gonna win in all aspects of life. It is unbelievable, the power of belief and belief in yourself, and like going with that love energy and that flow state. Man, Chaney, we make magic all the time that way.
But I believe in my own, like, I believe in my friends with that same kind of thing. I believe in like my attachment to God with that same kind of like little kid feeling. I don't care what anybody says their rule book is of what I'm allowed to say or what symbolism I can put up by my eyeball.
Whoa,
I really
watch it.
That
I
went
really
viral, bro.
That was so funny. I just really have such little. I feel like there's this point of success, no matter what it is, where somewhere we've been conditioned to not want the best things for the people that we love. And people that are good, like you find through that they want your success. They want your happiness and your comfort and all the things for you. And so I feel like once you find those people, it is proof that as long as you just keep living who you are. And that's like one of the great things about lockdowns and everything else. It just forced us into the like far extreme of our weird, because we're like, fuck it. And but it also brings out your like, in the corniest like way of saying it, like your vibe tribe. It brings out like the people who good thing I found you on this timeline, or I might not have made it. And we're on the craziest fucking timeline watching the craziest movie ever for history, ever throughout all of history. Like we are literally all in an MK Ultra experiment. And it's just wild. Like, oh, thank goodness I found you. And one of the things that makes me so like blessed with tons of gratitude, that also those are things that I feel like you have to be like a powerful person, is meeting people in real life. I know all of you are real. And that is something that enough people don't know in the world. They're like scared to like, I don't want to go. I'll be awkward. I'll be weird. Y'all, I'm awkward as fuck. I'm so much less awkward on a microphone.
I'm sorry.
What's going on?
What
are you snaking at?
Which means women, bitch. That's why Mitch is a boy name. That's a clever one. That's a clever one.
I've been looking into the belief system quite a bit and the placebo effect. So it's real. Beliefs are real. They've done all these studies that you tell like a woman that she's going to get her period or something, and it's like a 90% that like she will earlier or something like that.
And now, and everyone's like, oh God.
What?
You're like, and you're gonna have your period right now.
And now.
Both Layla and I are like, oh shit, I got cramps.
Worst superpower ever, by the way.
What are you looking at? What is your problem right now? I'm so ugly. But like all in like 3 minutes.
Oh man, I don't understand.
But the belief system is real. So if you believe something, it's proven scientifically that it's real. Tons of stuff like that. And prayer is the only way to cure addiction. That's the only proven scientific way. Plus action as well. So it's like a mixture of both. And they even say that in the Bible, I believe they say faith without works is dead or something like that. So you take action, but pray as well. And the doctor, I believe his name's, he wrote a book called Power versus Force and Healing and Recovery. And he created the levels of consciousness scale of different frequencies of different emotions. And this level 540 is a healing frequency out of all of these different levels up to like 800 or 900. And the lowest frequency, the lowest energetic energy is apathy, guilt, and shame. So fear and anger are a higher vibration. It's more positive than apathy, guilt, and shame, because you actually will take action if you're angry or scared. So you're actually have more energy to go do stuff. But when it goes to the healing frequencies, when there's hope, forgiveness, gratitude, attitude, gratitude, and all that, that vibrates at a much higher frequency. So it's just something I've been thinking about and trying to use for.
Isn't there that water experiment as well, like little kids do in their science project, or where they take rice and put it in a jar and they can write love on one, hate on one, and then ignore one? And they find that even though the hate one is far inferior to the love one, it's still not as bad as the ignored one. And that is
someone in the comments mentioned that was Dr. Moto or something. Emoto. I just got to say, for the record, I think that that's all nonsense because that one hyped me up. I remember when the first time I saw his work, and I was like, "That's crazy," because that means there's scientific evidence that water can understand words, or water can understand them. Like, why isn't this on headlines everywhere?
But I think little kids do this for experiments. Like, I think this is a little kid science project. Like, this is like a 5th grade science project where they like do a plant like this, or they put rice in one, or they put water in one. Like, they'll put 3 things, and then just every day give this one this emotion, this one this emotion, and that one that. Like, it wasn't just the Dr. Moto thing. Like, I feel like this is like but maybe I'm naive and I just thought like
I think
someone got an A+ and they were just like, oh, look how good she cut that out.
But I guess this is where my like capitalist bias comes in. But I feel like if that were true, if it actually worked, then you could go to any of these huge like factory farms and just see a bunch of people like, we love you, you're doing so great, you're growing perfectly.
But there's proof that named cows produce more milk. Like, if you name a cow at all, it produces more milk. I think you can find scientific proof on that. But maybe that could be in my 5th grade fairy tale too. Like, I thought there was actual real little studies that other people have done on things.
Like, I watched this video when I was in elementary school, and it was like this kid was sick, and he was like, I watched Star Wars and the Jedi, and I fell asleep watching it, and I was healed because I was dreaming about like all the TIE fighters or whatever, and we were like fighting all of them, and then he like healed. And I saw this when I was like in elementary school, and I always been using that before The Secret, and I was like really sick, and then I watched that movie and fell asleep, thinking this like that was going to heal me, and then I wasn't sick after it.
What were you talking about? Milk?
That
cow's milk?
Yeah, a named cow produces more milk.
Like their name, like, yo, this cow's name Chan.
Oh,
Just calling it Betty.
Yeah.
Betty the cow produces more
like
milk.
The happier the cow,
there,
the more milk they produce.
Well, then if you're naming a cow, it also implies that you're probably taking better care of it than someone that's literally just at a factory farm hooked up to a machine. And like I feel like there's different correlations, and it would be astounding to me that just the simple act of giving something a name would produce more milk. I think that it's like the implication is that far more is going on than someone just walked by and went, Bob, Jim, Bessie, Daisy. You know what I mean? Like, they probably are keeping them.
If the opposite is true, that we could fear something and produce something to its meat or blood, wouldn't the reverse be true? Of if we could love something, we could do something to its blood or meat?
Yeah.
I mean, I just got to think in like the way of
about that? Like how they take pets, they would rather take pets from families who raised these animals.
Oh, the dog festival.
Yeah, the Yulin, the Lychee Dog Festival. It's purposeful that they don't raise the animals in kennels because they don't produce the same kind of adrenaline in their meat. So they steal animals from the backyard because they realize coddled things are actually things that produce this super high level of adrenaline in the meat. And this is what makes it a delicacy. Yeah. And so this is where I actually have the theory of China. I know people with panda eyes, and that's a dark rabbit hole. But there's also panda diplomacy, which I feel like is a spy program that goes on all over the world where grown men are dressed as fucking panda bears. But then there's a whole other thing that I really believe, if you look at this Lychee Dog Festival in this way, there isn't an animal on the planet that is raised like a panda bear. These things make no sense. It's almost like they're created with the most amount of dopey happiness, and then they're raised with a bottle and loved and done all this stuff. And China's raising these pandas all the fucking time. And there's like 10 pandas that are allowed to go out to the rest of the world. So it's like, what are they doing with these pandas? It creeps me the fuck out.
That is wild.
It reminds me of the Lychee Dog Festival. So I don't know if like loving something, like for some reason that must put such a disgusting taste in their mouth if they eat that meat. Like how we're like, let's be humane, and you kill the deer, it's eating.
Yeah,
having the best little deer day, and it's like dead.
Yeah, and certain like religions have a certain way that they feel like they should like slaughter an animal. Like in Islam, they have to like make sure they're slicing it open and letting the blood drain out of it and not having any of the blood in it because it's not kosher to have the blood in it. I believe in Judaism, it's the same aspect. Like they have to do it a certain way. The kosher
can't have any pain. It has to be killed instantly.
Has to be instant, like pop, like yeah. So that has something to do with that.
That's why they need to get along. Like the Jews and the Muslims, they both like all the same stuff.
Jews, Muslims, and Christians, like they're all Abrahamic. It's from the same system. Like it really is.
I don't know. When I see how a cow gets kosher, that is one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen. Like it almost could make me vegetarian. It's like an animal watching its own blood pour out of it. It's like, even when you watch the cow's eyes, it's like such a, like that whole thing to me is wild. But then I also think of things like voodoo water and how they're like, this water, a voodoo priestess did a spell over it. I don't think that shit's a joke. I will not drink that. I'm like, I'm never drinking that water. I'm never drinking that water. I'm never drinking that water. And then I will tell you, I drank that water. My spleen blew up. The only time in life I was at a job and that's the only kind of water they had. And I was like, it's good out of a can.
Wait, is this a real thing? Voodoo water, and they actually do voodoo spells on it? What?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's
well, they got that liquid death murder.
That's what it is. Liquid death.
Okay. So
the voodoo water. That's all I know about it.
Yeah. So like there's a water brand called Liquid Death and everyone promotes it. It's like mainstream and all the mainstream podcasts. And so everyone's looking at it and they're putting their intention of that into the water and then people will drink it. So if this study is right about intentions and looking at stuff,
then this is a true thing, because in my culture they use when you wash the corpse of a body, they take that water and they use that for spells. It's I guess murky water, that's what they call it. And the death water, or when they bury the body, they'll use the dirt of that cemetery or that plot. They'll also dig into these graves and bury the spell for the family. So whatever bodies, like let's say someone tomorrow for my family, because my brother died, they would go to the cemetery and bury like chicken bones with a fucking egg and nails in it, and our picture wrapped in period blood cloth wrapped in a bag with a lock, like that deep, and have the intention to like never be successful, kids never getting married or being addicted on drugs and going the bad route. And this shit is so fucking real. I mean, I've seen families like be destroyed because of all this insanity. But I
hate to say it, and Chaney, maybe just close your ears, but voodoo water and liquid death, we should just be drinking our own pee, and then you could eliminate that whole problem. No,
I'm quite sure that's a ritual. I'm like so positive about it because Joe Rogan, it was one of the first things he did to get like a huge pump, is Joe Rogan sitting down and be like, yeah, I'm going to pull out my dick right here on this fucking radio show and I'm going to drink my own piss. And it's just like, God damn, you can't think the amount of fucking chemicals that guy has going on is Shivam Boo friendly. So I just think drinking of your piss is equivalent. Like China is telling us, you're going to eat roaches and you're going to eat your recycled shit and you're going to drink your piss. It just feels like prison like some kind of like the lowest of the
Well, yeah. I
rung.
mean, I think you're actually right on the money, and it's more like, don't worry, we know this is an acquired taste, which is why you should start now, because by the time in like 2030, it's going to be a complete shock to your system. So you might as well kind of like ease up on it a little bit.
They're like, you might as well lean in. Boof.
I talked to this mystic, and he went over
Pistic.
mystic.
The pistic mystic.
He went over the
Coin.
chiton. So like bug,
Shaitan.
the chiton, the chiton, the chiton, shiton.
Shaitan. That's the
Shaitan.
devil in Islam, I believe. Well, or the name of a demon. Shaitan. Yeah.
Well, so the bugs have this shell. It's a garment pretty much over the bug. And it's called chiton. And it's also the name of a garment, if you go back in time, that people would wear as well. And so this mystic, his name is, I don't know why my brain's not working too well.
Oh, mine doesn't work all the time.
He was going that is they're building like a new type skeleton with this. It's like the new garment for our bodies. So that's why they want everyone eating the bugs, because it's alchemical.
Interesting. Is it like metal garments that they're creating? Because I know Mia MIA is she has created a line of like, EMF protected garments, like clothing, like made of copper and silver and shit like that. I'm just like, what the fuck? She's so conspiratorial. I fucking love it.
Oh yeah. Well, so this guy, what he was saying, his name is Tunny. It's Tunny. That's his name. And he's just saying, because he's a mystic, so he looks at things a lot differently. But he's just saying that we're eating the chiton, and the garment that people wear is called chiton, and that's what these bugs wear. So it's like some sort of alchemy thing. He should be saying it. I shouldn't even be saying it.
I like your long hair, Donut.
Thank you.
I like it.
It's giving Mr. Sheffield.
Thank you very much. I used to have a man bun.
A man bun. I can't picture it.
It's an oxymoron too.
Well, that's like, yeah, I had a man bun, and my friend, he's a rabbi.
I had a girl dick.
Yeah. So like my friend, he's a rabbi, and he was just like, oh, it's cool if you want to. Some guys like to be like a woman, like, and be feminine. Like, I was like, what the I cut my hair. I'm throwing it back out. Thank you.
You're like, that felt like a sideways like slap. You're excuse me, Rabbi. That was felt.
Yeah.
When do rat tails start coming back? I feel like that's gonna have to make a comeback at some point.
I just cut mine off.
Well, yeah, that will come back.
Mine was so long right before Brohemian Grove, because one, I talked to David and I was like, oh, I'll make my hair look exactly like Raven's. But my wife was like, I'm so done with that hair. Like, she was kind of like over the whole entire style. And my favorite part, when I started growing it out, one day I was on the phone with my Maria and I just turned my head to grab something and she goes, oh, that's a little too long for my liking. I just like that the ladies in my life were like, okay, we let you have this like long hair thing because you didn't have hair for a while and we didn't say anything about it. Now do away with that. So yeah, I tried to make the rat tail come back and it wasn't great. But
I had a rat tail when I was a kid and a mullet.
A mullet?
Oh yeah, rat tail's just a small mullet.
Yeah.
I don't think I could good mullet.
Do you know what our old school heritage, well, for men, the haircut was? Like literally I don't want to say Jewish cap, but that's what it's like, literally all bald and a Jewish cap with a whole, like 2 braids.
Oh, really?
That part. Yeah, it was so fucking weird. Like just this part like was kept.
It's just the where people go
Yeah.
bald. They just kept
Just
that
right
part.
there. That was like
I
the
do.
whole-
Like, yo, we go bald right here. Let's just keep the hair there and not get rid of it.
fucking wild. I was like, yo.
Because that's why the
this is so
Jews wear
weird.
the yarmulke, is so they can cover up the bald spot.
Oh, is that why?
Because they're in the desert too. Like, they're like, oh shit, this is getting so much sun. Just put a little cap on it. Otherwise, it gets so hot. Once you cover your ears or even a baseball hat, so hot.
Well, who
But-
wore the yarmulke first? Was it the Pope or was
Nah,
it
It
Jews?
was the Illyrians.
Oh,
Mhm.
damn.
And they had from the Jewish cap to the pliss to the kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, almost like the fez but white. Different types of kind of white fezzes, almost like a, I would say, Peter Pan kind of looking cap that kind of hung almost, or like
Right.
the fool cap, like the fool that kind of like droops.
Do you know about the skull caps?
Well, we have those. The skull cap. It's like that's what it is. It's like a egg or half moon type of skull cap. It's a pliss.
I feel like I really just did this in my brain. I just have to tell you guys. Whoop. Let's see if Abbie's really here. Yeah. I feel like I was just like, I just picked up my phone because I was just going to text and just be like, hey, just seeing if you're okay. Like, I'm not even checking to see if you're here. I was just about to text and just be like, are you safe?
Uh-huh. I don't see her yet though.
And so then you were talking about Illyrian cap. So I put the phone down and I started typing Illyrian cap.
Or Albanian plius.
It pulled up actually like.
Yeah, that. There you go.
It's almost like a trichome.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a bunch of different ones that they are like, could this have been ancient Illyrian? Could this have been ancient Illyrian?
Yeah, it
Look
is.
at-
It's all ancient Illyrian and it's not Greek. Ancient Greece was a made up fucking thing by the Bavarians and the help of Russia. And they tried to conquer this entire nation. And that's when also the fucking Turks came along. And Illyrians conquered a lot, but it's a lot of stolen history. Masonry was taken by the Bavarians, which was taken by the Illyrian kingdom, which was a bunch of mini kingdoms that ran shit there. The Hellenic, the Dardanians, the Arvanites, the Arbrish in Italy, the Albanoi, the Thracians, all of those. It's all ancient Illyrian kingdom. Illyricum. Just look into it.
Wow.
Yeah, Greece was founded in 1831. I'm trying to put something together to like, make people wake up. You're being lied to. Like the ancient Greek language is not even ancient Greek, but it's ancient. What's the word I'm looking for right now? Because there's so much shit in my head. It is Etruscan. Etruscan is Old Albanian.
And then it's so curious too, because it's like 1800s and how much of our schooling in our elementary, it's wild almost how, in my head anyway, of how much I had to learn about the Greek and Roman gods. And it's like, but they weren't Greek.
They weren't.
They weren't Greek. They
They
just
were not.
changed the names on things. And like, there was no such thing as the
The
Greek.
Iliad is the Illyriad. Illyrid, meaning the free people. That's what it literally means. The Illuminati has to do with we are connected with the stars. That's what it means. It's all connections with the stars. And they try to hide that for some reason. And we need to understand what these stars are.
Yeah, because it's the stellar cults. They're
Yeah.
stellar cults.
And what they do is try to demonize everything. And this is why I'm just like, oh my God, like, are they doing this on purpose? They created these religions so we look in these books and not where we need to look, like in nature, in the stars, in the waters. Like, I don't know what we're doing. We're doing it all backwards. We're not connected. We're not free sovereign beings because we're so, documents, words. But honestly, it's so much more than that. I don't know.
They even tell us the winners write history. They tell
Mhm.
it right in our face. And really what we want is the loser's version of history. That's what we're all desperately seeking.
No, the city of Troy is not a lie. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the ancient Greek of it all is not ancient Greek because Greece did not exist at the time. Greece is not a nation, was never a nation until 1831 when they came and literally like had an ethnic cleansing of all the Arvanites that were there. They were called the Arvanites. And these were Albanian people. There was a kingdom of Albanian heritage. And it goes back to ancient Illyria. And the Bavarians came and put in a language, put in a schooling system, came and slaughtered hundreds and thousands of people, from children to babies to men, women, children, you name it. It was one of the worst atrocities that has happened in that little place. But you guys will see. Eventually, I'm coming out with stuff, and then you'll see.
What?
I have
Aren't-
proof to back it up. It's not me talking out of my ass.
For illuminaticomic.com, isn't a lot of the attachments like everything, like it'll be some stuff about Diddy, but then a lot about the like Bavarian Illuminati?
Oh, IlluminatiComic.com. We are launching it on 11/11, and it's all Paranoid American. And I worked hard for a year. Paranoid went so much harder because he knows how to build these comics. But it's IlluminatiComic.com. It goes over the whole history of the Illuminati, so you know the factual history of it in such a fun way, tying it all the way into today's time with Doja Cat. Like the music industry and these influencers, right now you got TikTok influencers and YouTube influencers. The influencers were used by the Illuminati in the 1800s to get people to get their votes, to make them take an action, whatever it is. And so we will talk about all the rappers and all that, but we also give the ancient history as well. It's really tight. Like, I'm super excited for it.
Well, all my favorite projects start out with me almost wanting to debunk stuff or like set the record straight on things that just annoy me when they come up in social media constantly. Like one of the ones that annoyed me for decades was like Jay-Z's in the Illuminati, Drake's in the Illuminati, because they do like a little yeah, exactly. And like that's as if that's the entry now. Like if you go back historically, if you wanted to join the legit Bavarian Illuminati with Adam Weishaupt, you'd have to be in this for years and give them money, and you'd have to be keeping diaries and write down everything you did, everything that everyone around you did, and then they would get those people in the Illuminati but wouldn't tell it. So now it's like all your friend group are all in the Illuminati, but you don't know each other are in it, and you're each taking notes on everyone else. So now the guy at the top of that pyramid, he's just running an intelligence network. This is a Diddy party or an Epstein blackmail kind of scandal. This is the original blueprint for it. And I just remember thinking, like, it's so silly to think that Jay-Z's in the Illuminati, but then it was like, wait a minute, this is kind of like of course P. Diddy is the modern day Illuminati. They're doing exactly the same thing. It's an intelligence network that operates outside the scope of a typical military or politics. It's like its own little realm. And like Donut was saying too, even in the 1700s, the Illuminati was the one that was financing the publishing of Beethoven's work, Bach's work, like funding Mozart. And without the actual Bavarian Illuminati, not like some weird tangential connection, but actual Bavarian Illuminati members funding all that, because they saw, oh, if we can control what people find popular, then we can kind of control what is popular. If you figure out what people like and you control that, now you can start feeding them other stuff. So I think that was one of the biggest like aha moments for me, was trying to disprove the hip hop Illuminati, and then in turn kind of proving that it has to exist. It makes more sense for Justin Bieber to kind of be this Illuminati puppet the same exact way that a young Beethoven was an Illuminati puppet.
And this comic that is put together is fantastic. It's absolutely incredible. It's going to be the hugest thing in the entire planet. And this Kickstarter that Paranoid's putting on is like a fundraiser. And if you go to illuminaticomic.com and notify me and sign up, it is going to be launched on 11/11, but you get early access to it, and it supports us because it gets us in the algorithm.
How do you feel about 11/11 really being 9/11 because it's November 11?
Yeah. It's November is 9/11. So I think there's going to be a ritual on November 3rd because it would be 93, and that's like a huge hello. That's hello.
Well, hell, that's in like 20 hours from now.
Yeah.
It's their 311 backward too. So that's the KKK of it all.
KKK.
So you get like the obvious KKK, and then you also 311 down, or the Kardashians like the KKK it up with Big Kathy, Little Kathy, Kyle, and Kim Richards. They're also the other Hollywood, which will be part of something soon.
Yeah, well, this thing is absolutely fantastic. It's gonna like people don't even know how dope it is. It's so dope. It's like crazy.
It's awesome. I even think it's a sign that Charlemagne the God tried to come out with the exact same idea at the same time because
hello.
Well, his is definitely different. It was just like a fictional story that they kind of had commissioned. It doesn't look bad, but it's definitely about a hip hop Illuminati. This is something that we've been working on for years. It's the culmination of every single book that I think either of us have ever been able to find on the Illuminati, all read and boiled down, and all of like the important names, dates, places, information. And I haven't seen anything else in my entire life that actually addresses all of this, unless you went out and bought all the books that we're talking about. There was one that was really close, and I don't even think it's published anymore. It was called Illuminati Rex. And I talked to this guy, I think like a decade ago, and he had put something out kind of similar. But what we're doing, like almost every comic that I got, is because I wanted it to exist and I couldn't find it. So it's like, well, hell, I guess like we got to be the ones that do that. And that's what this one is. No one's going to have to make an Illuminati comic after this one comes out. Like it is thorough as hell.
Yeah, and there's swag too. We got all the swag. I'm gonna put the next like donut box up in there, and there's just tons. It's so dope. Go illuminaticomic.com.
Check it out.
And it's going to be somewhere else too, or can you find all the links? You said, is it Kickstarter? I don't want to say the wrong one. Yeah,
illuminaticomic.com, and it takes you straight to the Kickstarter.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you don't want to use Kickstarter, we'll have other links, but that's the main the whole point here is to like feed that Kickstarter algorithm, so the day we launch, it gets funded in like seconds or minutes, because that
we needed to get bonded crypto geeks out there.
Right.
That's what we're looking for it to happen.
We need to basically flip this
We're
thing.
going to stake the liquidity of crypto Illuminati comics.
That's exactly
Illuminati
what we
comic coin.
Yeah. we want to like do like how the crypto pumps do it, where they launch it and all the insiders like pump it, so all the mainstream people will see it because it gets pumped into the algorithm pretty much. We want to do the same thing for the comic, but it's not a scam because you get a product.
Yeah, I think you guys need to get some flyers out online to our little digital army about it, and then so you have a build up and maybe even little giveaways for anyone who likes, shares, follows, and does all the things, so that way it pushes it into the algorithm. But a whole bunch of other people, they'll just help just because, and then we'll litter Twitter with it, old school digital army style, and just Illuminati comic all over X from 9/9 or from 11/9 to 11/11.
That's gangsta.
Yeah, I think that's how we should punk rock it.
No scams here whatsoever.
Where did Abbie go?
She came in and then she said she had shit internet, and so I was like, well, just call. You can call and chit chat with us like anyone does from Jamaica.
Yeah,
because I need to lose some weight. I gotta talk to her.
I know. That's what she'll have, the meal plan, the workout, the everything.
Oh yeah.
She has it all. So if you are looking, you should get Abbie before the new year starts if you're looking to lock her in, because everyone and their brother will have a New Year's resolution, and then Abbie's time will be finite. So
Yep.
you can find her if you're looking for tips, tricks of eating and working out and all that good stuff, feeling better, and or Medici cards.
Oh
You
yeah.
can
I can't wait.
you can hit up Abbie. Maybe she'll come back
Oh,
tonight. But
speaking of Jamaica. Hello, Summer. I just flew in and you said Jamaica. Dude.
oh, weird. Big up.
Big up. Brah, da, da.
Bra, bra, bra. I know, and we talked about scopolamine tonight.
Uh-huh. Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yes, we've been talking about scopolamine and angel trumpets for so many years. We used to follow Madonna and her children to Africa, where behind them they would always make prevalent the angel trumpet tree.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think that's creepy when you take all these celebrities that they adopt a slew, like an Angelina Jolie, a Madonna, Charlize Theron, where they're adopting like a few kids from another country. And then we find out other stuff that's going on with blood transfusions and,
Well, how do they get the kids away and make them forget the parents, right? Scopolamine. They do the blink twice ritual, and now it's like, where am I? And then you wake up and it's like Madonna's private jet, and you don't ask any questions.
And eyes wide shut. It's all about like eyes blinking, eyes wide shut. I feel like there's something with that too.
I know the blink twice if you're in trouble. That is something that it's like such
really? That's
yeah.
damn.
That's the whole thing,
like
is that at the
kid?
beginning of it, the doctor that ends up being, I won't give anything away, but the doctor who's the psychiatrist, he comes to her and he's like, "Oh, you having a good time?" Da, 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 da. And she's like, "Yeah, and I'm having a great time." And he goes, "Okay, blink twice if you're in trouble." Like he like kind of gives her this.
Oh, I didn't even see that. I got to go back and rewatch that. That's wild. I didn't.
It's almost mind-blowing, that movie, and how much
It
they
is
put out there
so
for a
good.
conspiracy-minded person. It makes your head like explode.
I don't know why people don't talk about it. I've like talked about it like 5 times. I've watched it 5 times. Wow.
I'm pretty obsessed with it too. It's
gonna
one
watch
of the
it
very few things that I kept my phone, like I wasn't doing 3 other things at the same time.
The black eye club's in it as well, because the kid gets punched and he's like, "Oh, look at my black eye." So even that is in it too.
I know, but you even wonder how much of that, they like have an injury, like cut your finger and drink the blood, or they have a wrist brace or an ankle thing. And it's like, how much of this is them just doing scopolamine, and part of the ritual is, "Oh, we all abuse the shit out of you. Don't worry. You're not going to remember any of it." But then it's like kind of the way you work your level up, and like, remember when we fucked Betty White at that one Obama party?
Or it could be, Chaney, during the scopolamine, you think that God knows what you're doing, but what's actually happening is they're putting you in a fucking lab and then injecting the fucking vril in your eye. That's what's actually fucking happening. I think that's where the whole fucking MK Ultra and them becoming this whole new persona and not like who they were. All of a sudden they become demonic. Just fishy.
It's
I think too
It's fucking fishy.
Some of these fucking
Tom Cruise, you're on notice.
You're on notice, Tom Cruise.
A
Fucking
movie
fishy.
like Blink Twice, right? It's almost. It's not. I don't think it's revelation of the method. I don't think they actually have to do that for the karmic free. I like that theory, but I think what happens is they say, "Uh-oh, if this were to ever get exposed, we should have a fictional version of it." So then when someone's like, "Hey, I think you guys are really doing this," the response you can have is like, "What, like that movie? Oh, let me guess, you saw a movie and now you think you know what's going on." Like it's almost this like caricature that they can use to be like, "Oh, what do you think, we're doing this thing that we made a whole movie about?" how stupid are you to believe that? It's such a convenient
I know.
way to do.
I call
don't
that
know
the
about
Harry Potter.
self-disclosure, but it's like it helps you vicariously kind of get it out of your system.
Well, everything with magic, they do that. So it has to be in your little kid brain. So they're like, here's all these Harry Potter spells. Here's bedknobs and broomsticks. Here's Disney shit. So by the time you get older, you're 35 years old and you're like, oh my gosh, you mean chanting is powerful? Reading The Secret. It's like you have to have all these self-help books or it's called New Age, but really it's all the magic stuff from those little kid movies that it's like
Nothing new under the
exact same
sun.
thing.
It's everything that we've done in the past, just now in different forms or different styles.
And then putting it in your truth in plain sight. It's almost like I always think of the like George Bush, like fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, I'll never get fooled again. He doesn't even say that right because that feels like a mockery. Like to just so you never remember how the saying ever fucking goes again, because everything from this point on is a fuckery. Like it's all a fool.
Dude, but Bush is a perfect example of this exact thing too, though, where it's like, oh, what, this guy that can't even get a saying right with this cokehead that ran his car into like a sign, you think that he's the mastermind? Come on. Like it's such a perfect cover story.
They threw a shoe at him and he was just like, oh no, they threw a shoe. Did he turn into like a robot? Yeah, you saw it. Yeah. Like, yeah.
One of the like when you look up the like all of them young, George W. Bush was like not an unattractive dude in his youth. Like I can see his like he was athletic. I could see like he still had it. He was like, oh shit.
Have you seen the movie George or W or something? W?
That's the same thing that I think Thomas is saying, or even the Harry Potter, where it's such a rewrite of history close in time that you just remember him as, oh, he's just a dopey dumb Texan.
Yeah, he just likes doing the yayo, and but that move that he did though, that was some robot like MK Terminator. Like that maybe that reptilian stuff's true.
Have you watched the show that my Maria recommended to everybody that blew her mind that she did not expect it on her stories today?
I don't know.
What was it?
Show?
I forgot. It was on HBO. I forgot the name of it. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
That's
the show with the guy.
She recommended it. I was like, okay, if she recommended it, it's probably really good.
The thing I think about Blink Twice is it's not pushed. It's not pushed by Amazon. It's not pushed. I've never heard of it. I would have never watched it or never heard of it if it wasn't for people in the comments being like, yo, y'all need to check out this. Like I would have never even looked at it. The trailer to it doesn't connect it to any of the stuff as well. So I feel like this is like some sort of like trying to leak some stuff, some information.
Oh yeah. There you go. Caddo Lake. That's the one.
Caddo Lake.
Caddo Lake. CADDOLOLAKC. No, wait.
Caddo Lake. Okay. CADDOLAKE. Go check it out.
What's it about?
I don't know.
It is a story centered on Ellie, a teenager who constantly fights with her mother and has left home to stay at her friend's, and a 20-something man named Paris, who was in the car with his mother when she drove off of a bridge. She died, but he escaped the car. You want? I could continue.
No, that's good.
Oh, right here. Phenomenon at Caddo Lake. Phenomenon activates when the water level drops. I did see the commercial for this. A lot of people have been saying to look at this.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer to it.
It's some trippy shit they said.
They're going to different portals and stuff.
With the water of it all.
69. The one-on-one podcast told me to watch this because if you look at the movie poster, it's a big 6-9. It's part of the 6-9 ritual.
Oh wow, ironic.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
This is they said it's like some weird like sci-fi like, whoa, what the fuck? I did not expect that fucking outcome.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Juan said to watch it.
Because that sounded like, about a teenage girl and fighting with her mom, and no, just wait for it.
Right. I'm gonna check it out.
Me too. I gotta watch it.
Shout out to the Real Ride or Die.
What up, real?
Yeah, shout out Ryan, shout out Stephanie, everyone else that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it was
were
so awesome.
Oh my god, they were so awesome.
Shout out to Fawn's Pond.
Shout out to everyone at the event, honestly. It was freaking dope. It was freaking dope. I had a great time.
Revenge of the Sis, I just have to say, one of the sometimes like some people just have it, and you see people on certain microphones, but it doesn't mean it's going to translate to stage. Like the comfort level of like being in front of an audience doesn't mean it's going to be there as being right now in your room and the thing. But I will say that if you ever I'm like a fan of Revenge of the Sis. I take in their podcasts. If you watch what goes on their show, Royce is like fat, and like Mersh just kind of sits there and chills and like throws in one-liners, and he's clever occasionally. Him on stage, I just felt like every other third thing he said was like a fireball, where I'm like, he needs to do stand-up. So like check out Revenge of the Sis. But that I just, of everybody that took the stage, I felt like energetically, I'm like, he did, like I was impressed with his like level of humor and
Kept
timing.
the crowd engaged and
Yeah.
wanting to hear what he was gonna say next. That's what I like. That was intriguing.
Yeah,
It
and
was
it's
great.
just like because every like it's you have the nerves of once you like, okay, I'm going, and your body processes the nerves however your body processes. I'm like I'm lucky in ways that on a microphone my body processes nerves all through sweaty palms. But I don't want to shake your fucking hand after I get off stage. Like I'm calm, cool, and collected looking up here, but my hands are just like it went. If somebody else has to share a microphone with me, I'm like, oh, sorry about that. I hope everybody can't see the glare of the drip of my sweat off how tightly I'm white knuckling this microphone. So yeah, but its stage is fucking funny. But I just think Mersh did so good.
Shout out to Stephanie for having the balls from just going for the DMT trip of it all. Like that was fucking awesome. Like I love her. Like she is such a unique soul, man. She is so incredible.
Yeah, she might come and hang out with us sometime, and we're gonna
Mormon talk.
chop up Mormon
Yeah.
a little bit. Lean into the
We're gonna chop up some Mormons.
chop up some Mormons. Starting with why it's not called More Women.
Mormons.
Because it's really like their whole goal, right? Is like have a bunch of
Gay.
wives, a bunch of kids.
And Brigham Young.
Yeah, Brigham Young University. I don't know. I don't think everything's wrong about the polygamy stance.
I think any man who like degrades women
like
and
it'll
hates
work.
them that much are gay.
I don't think a lot of them like sister wives. It seems like it would be so helpful. Like if moms I knew had other moms, and then like there was a dude that's like, yeah, I can afford 3 houses. You guys can all big love. Like that seems like, oh, that could be so helpful.
Well,
I
that
don't
was how Brigham Young actually did it. Is that every wife had their own house, and essentially it was almost like he wanted to just have a lot of real estate and have a lot of houses. But if you got 100 houses, what are you gonna check in on every house every day? Like it's just not feasible. But if you got a wife for every house, now all of a sudden you got a reason to have wives to keep track of all the houses, right? So it almost turned into like a business venture at a certain point that they kept scaling up.
Property and property.
And if you
think
look
of
at
it as the same.
child labor laws, once you get into any of these religions, they fall by the wayside. So like you'll have these certain sects of religions where it's all just like children building whole plazas, and they're paying the Mormon church, and the Mormon church is doing it all under the guise of education or religion or something, but they're getting just free labor from a whole bunch of boys from like the age of 10 to like 20.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Kind of genius.
It's pretty crazy. Like I got an army of dudes I can trust. Sons, get up. And it's just all your sons.
And they're all jacked because they've been just like doing manual labor.
And a lot of these popular like influencer couples are like Mormon and like these Mormon couple shows. It's like strange, this Mormon trend of like families coming out. And I thought it was supposed to be more of like a sacred thing, but I guess it's not. They just want to publicize it and like make it more of a popular.
I find it fascinating because Mormonism is just a newer version of Masonry with magic added. Like that's the only way that I can
And
see it.
space. Magic and space.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right because Mormonism it's one of the newest religions on the freaking planet, and made right here in good old America, but it was also one of the few religions made after like the scientific discoveries of space started coming out. So there's not a lot of religions out there that had the historical context to bake in space travel, except for Mormonisms and Scientology, which is like a lot of the different religions that come out, Nexium and even like Heaven's Gate, like that's what they kind of all share is they acknowledge space travel, which doesn't exist in almost any other religion. So yeah, Mormonism, space magic, and Masonry. Like I don't know how you can go wrong with that combo.
There is a push toward this space religion by the Rogan, by the Elon, it just seems like even we were just talking about the albino alligator. Girl, we all know if you were Kim Kardashian and really going to get an outfit, you do not even look close to a gator. Why would you have put the tail on your head? Like everything about the thing is a lie. You're lying to us and we all see it. Like you're not an albino alligator. There's something else going on here.
She dressed
I don't
up
know.
as an alien a few times.
Yeah, I just feel like they're really pushing us into like we all almost have to believe it. Like I want to believe X-Files. Gen X will all believe in the light show of Bluebeam because it was instilled on them. And so it's crazy like the Mormons and then even we're the generation that we got the Heaven's Gate cult where it's like they told us about that on TV. And like showed us all their sneakers covered with sheets.
The ancient alien, right? The AA, the Aleister Crowley AA, the
Visitors.
albino alligator, as well as the AA. The alien was seen on a plane on AA Airlines on 7/2, which is National UFO Day. So there's this push, like you're saying, of aliens. And also a push kind of back to the belief system to shrooms, because what they're doing is creating a new shroom cult. Shroom cults have existed all throughout history. So they got everybody microdosing while the AI is telling them that there's aliens resetting the autonomic nervous system where the beliefs are stored through the imprinting, which is so much different than mind control and brainwashing. The MK Ultra projects didn't fully work because of people's belief systems. So there was hope in that the MK Ultra projects didn't fully work. And all the research of Timothy Leary is the guy who says, tune in, drop out, and take the drugs. That's what Joe Rogan said on his most recent podcast. He says, that's a good thing. We need to tune out, drop out, and take a bunch of drugs right now. So he's promoting this with a big UFO behind him. So when people are taking these drugs that you're able to reset this belief system of the Abrahamic religions, they are making us hate the Abrahamic belief systems. It's so sickening seeing all the wars and bloodshed rituals in the name of God through religion. And so we get pushed with so much trauma on that we see, that when we get the mythology and the mythos of the aliens, it's fantasy land. It's, oh my God, this is great. And it's interesting that Tucker Carlson, who's been pushing this alien agenda for quite some time now with the cow mutilations, which have all been, you can see the studies that what's going on is MK Ultra that's connected to Scientology and Harold Puthoff. And they were like abducting people and doing experiments on them. Tucker Carlson was also abducted, but it wasn't by an alien. It was by a demon. The demon abducted him, did some weird stuff, gave him a back massage and like scratched his back and left like marks on it. Absolutely crazy. But that's all part of all of this, I think. Sorry.
No, I I'm totally
I'm sorry,
100%. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on everything that you
It's
said.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're walking us into that somewhere. And somewhere, like, it's weird that you brought up the show that I've never seen, but that it's about a portal. And we have Aleister Crowley, what we brought up again and again. And his whole goal is what? Opening like some kind of portal. And then we also, that's butt magic too.
Yeah,
That's
butthole
opening up.
portals.
Yeah, the opening.
Donut holes.
Yeah, it's all about butt magic too. So
I love Paranoid's face, how serious he is. It's like butthole.
We don't mess around with
hole
butthole magic.
he's over there like writing up a
through it.
business plan about he's gonna
Yeah.
have like milk with all named cows.
Well, I watch all y'all podcasts every Friday night, and I'm so grateful to be here with all you. Thank you.
We love you, Donut.
Yeah, we love hanging out with you, Donut.
I love all y'all. So
Not that
good.
any of you here don't already, but make sure you go and find Donut everywhere and follow him and give him a shout out and do the IlluminatiComic.com.
Yeah, hit the like button.
Smash
Yeah,
that
go to
like
that-
button.
Mishy smashy the likey.
What is that?
It's the
A little
essence.
sage stick.
Sage, right? And,
Oh, it's an incense. Okay.
Incense. Yeah, I said essence.
What do you think it was?
I
sparkler?
wanted to say sparkler, and then I wanted to say like a little Harry Potter wand. That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
Look,
my
it's
my
He
Hollywood.
was like casting a little spell on us.
I used to smoke this when I was a kid.
You know
What?
what? I used to know people that would smoke
do it.
what are they? It was like it was. I think it's just pine resin, but it's called Red Dragon incense, and it's like little red pebbles of pine resin and like food coloring. And they used to sell it to like idiots in middle school and high school. Like, this is Red Rock opium.
Yeah, I
You
would.
just go to
You
Spencer's
guys
Gifts.
you guys would sell
Yeah.
that to me and my friends, and we would smoke it.
My brother bought some of that once, and I sat for a little
else
while
are
and
we gonna
spoke with
do?
him, and I'm like, bro, this is not it.
Well, but you still smoke it though. Like, you're like, I know this ain't weed. This is straight nutmeg and oregano. But
It looked like
Whatever.
red rock. Like it looked like red, like darker than clay rock, almost like it was crayon. And it didn't even, it looked like everything about it. Like now thinking about that moment, I'm like, poof, who knows what I did to myself.
I saw dirt like that. I forgot what state. It was in a county near Troy. I think it was Georgia. No, I forgot what state. It's one of the maybe Alabama. I think it's Alabama. Dude, they were digging up on across the, I guess on the highway somewhere on one of the roads or intersections. Dude, I've never seen dirt that color. Like red. What you're talking about, like red
the
dirt.
iron.
Yo, I've never seen it that red in my life, up close and personal. I was like, that's fucking dirt. Like, it was not brown.
It's
Just
the
like
iron.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and if you go to Sedona, you got to go to Sedona in Arizona. It's so cool because it's all these red, like the dirt's red, everything's red because it's the iron. And sometimes, like, I heard like pregnant like chicks, if they're
It wasn't DMT. No one thought it was DMT, even back
DMT.
then.
Oh.
Yeah. Like back then, we didn't even know what DMT was yet.
Hmm.
Back then, when we were smoking Spencer's Gifts candles, we didn't know. That's what it felt like a little bit. Like, what were we up to? We're just begging to get high
It was
somewhere.
rough back then, man.
Mercury is red.
People were like, if you eat poppy seeds, you'll get high, and then someone will have a bellyache.
I feel like I did most of those things that you would like read on the internet, and you'd be like, "No idiot would try that." I did. I roasted the bananas and scraped the inside of the banana peel and smoked that. I did. I packed gel tabs with nutmeg, like a whole freaking like the huge giant McCormick nutmeg, and I ate it all in one night. Like I stayed up all night and I put it in pills and I ate it. And it basically felt like I was blackout drunk for about 3 days straight. And apparently it's very toxic. Nutmeg is incredibly toxic.
Holy
You shouldn't do
shit.
that. But I did all the weird like legal high stuff, and it was all just because I didn't have a good connect for just regular old weed. If I just had a good connect, none of that would have ever happened.
Oh, that's what sucks down in the South. They don't hustle to get their money, the drug dealers, like for weed. I'm just like, dude, in New York, like everyone, yeah, I got you. What do you need? Boom. There in like minutes. Like, not here down south.
We're on Southern people time.
Yeah, we had delivery services. What kind? What grade? High grade,
I mean,
low
I
grade?
distinctly remember always feeling like it was a privilege in order to get anything better than just like Mexican dirt weed that was just compacted, that you had to like find the crushed seeds and like poke them out of there, right? If you knew someone, like you had to keep on their good terms just for the privilege of being able to get some nice purple crippy or something, or some Northern Lights. And it was a complete inversion, you know, like the customer was not always right, the dealer was always right. If he shows up 4 hours late, you don't say anything because you're lucky to came at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
whatever you got, even if it's dirt weed.
I remember like
I'll take it.
In a point in my life when I finally started to sell weed, it was only because I never gave a fuck about the money. I was just so tired of going to some like young dude's house while he sat on a couch with all his boys and they played video games, and they knew damn good and well why I showed up there.
Yeah.
He's the one who told me to come at this time. We talked about it, and then I have to wait there and chit chat and small talk for a fucking hour about some nonsense, and then follow them to their bedroom while everyone watches and they scale out some. It was like I was so over the process of having to fucking small talk for my weed that I was like, I'm just gonna start selling weed. Like, and I just did what most people, like, I guess they're trying to make money. I was just like, whatever I got it for, I just sold it for. It didn't matter if you got an eighth, it was the same price as if you got an ounce. I don't care. Like, this is how much it is, and this is how much it costs me. I just don't want to ever fucking watch anyone fucking play Call of Duty and talk to a motherfucker on the thing while homies are on the couch and weird people are coming and going in a fight with a girlfriend that I'm like, should I even be in your bedroom with you right now? This feels
like,
weird.
Girl gonna jump me, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to smoke a blunt? Hey, you want to? It's like, no, I don't want to be your friend. I just need the product. Thank you very
The amount
much.
of other drugs you'd see people get at sometimes that you're like, whoa, I am in a whole darker realm of drugs than I even plan on. I just wanted my quarter of like regular weed.
I remember one time, and this is in high school, and we rode up on someone that was supposed to just have some good weed. He didn't have any, and but he was like, but I do have this heroin. It was just like, I remember at that time thinking like, when is that a normal substitution for one for the other? But my friend came back out and he was like, I don't know, it sounded like a good deal. I was like, Jesus, guys.
I mean, the one time I went to go, well, this was like my party days when I had to go pick up white, and this was in Texas. My friend sent me somewhere. I was just go pick it up here. When I went, it was like actual fucking cartel. And I was fucking shitting my bricks inside of myself. I was just like, I walked in. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. He opens the brick, weighs it out. And he's trying to ask questions and like trying to see if I'm all right. I was like, dude, I'm in and out. Like, I'm Adam's friend or whatever who they kind of knew. I was like, I'm okay. But yeah, that was the scariest moment of my life, because when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, these people are fucking cartel. And yeah.
Or you're just trying to get weed and somebody has like a gun on the table and they're moving and you're just like, what is happening? Like somebody's leaning into the role of like, yeah, I'm a dealer. I'm just like, oh God, I don't even want my car in the parking lot of your strange apartment complex. Can I just get out of here?
No one wants your QP of mids, bro.
Yeah. It always, yeah.
So many stories. I'm just not right now.
So the hustle of Floridians and their
or like they'll try to make a move on you. Like they think that you're one of those girls that'll like do things for drugs, and it's like, yo, you got the.
Can you imagine being one of those girls though? Let's say you were a drug whore. That weed would be your drug that you'd whore for. That is like the craziest thing. Like you're just so thirsty and got yourself to the end of the line. Like, oh, I just got to get me.
There
I
is,
gotta, like that is crazy.
Yeah, there is women out there who do that. Yeah,
I don't doubt it. I mean,
It's the
there's
hood.
girls that'll do it for Taco Bell.
All walks of life in the hood. All walks of life in the hood. That's all I'm gonna say.
Walks of life in the hood.
Mhm.
Anyways, what else is going on? We have an election coming up in a couple of days. Are you guys glad it'll be over?
Yeah.
Get the fucking move on with
But
the story.
then what? But then
I don't
what?
know. We'll see.
What are we
The
gonna
next
do in
part.
2 years? Yeah.
It makes me so depressed. Well,
Yeah.
depressed is the wrong
I
word, but
love
like
this Trump era.
it black pills me more than any black pill podcast you could put on like repeat and do the psychic driving to me. Just seeing how the trajectory of like basically the one candidate that no one wanted for any reason at all 4 years ago, and now it's what, neck and neck? I don't know. It's absolutely
neck and
crazy to me.
That's a lie.
Well, I mean, if you go according to the polls that they push us, which I believe is
What
the main
polls? Has
reason.
anyone participated in any of these polls that they push towards us? Has anyone called me or you? No. Has anyone emailed you? No. These polls are fucking fake.
If they even said to you, like, hi, yeah, I'm calling, I would like to take a poll, you'd say, fuck
Transgender's
off.
vagina.
But the poll, in my opinion, that's the whole thing. That's the polls are what the elections are all about. It's so that everyone can get polled, so that now there's like a temperature check. So now they can figure out, okay, if we say that it's neck and neck, if we say it's 48 to 47 or whatever, does everyone buy that? Is anyone arming themselves and storming the streets going, no, it was 95 to 5. There's no way. And if no one's doing that, they're like, okay, let's push a little bit more. Now it's 49 to 46, and
like
they just
showing
keep,
us the Twin Towers come down over and over again.
like they're just like dipping their finger and they're just checking to see if it's hot enough yet. And I really feel that that's the main point.
That's why I think the early voting thing is interesting. Everybody like, oh, make sure you vote early, make sure you vote. And I voted already. And so anyone out there, it's like if you want anyone I've talked to that's gone to their polling place, they're like, bruh, that was busy. Like anyone that's ever early voted before, they're used to just like walking right in, going right to the machine. They're like, I was in line for like an hour and a half for early voting. Like that makes me think, even though the world won't admit it, they all think Blue Beam or some kind of weird shit's going down too. Like we're all watching the same movie and we're like, are we going to make it to 11:05? I might as well just get this shit done.
You know what else I saw though? Which is very fucking interesting. Because Elon Musk is creating, I guess, his own count of the votes that are being processed now during early voting. And he said we might not even have to wait on election day to call the election, because the amount of people that are early voting can call the election with the amount of voters that are registered. So if we keep doing this early voting before fucking election night, they can actually start calling it before the day. And that blew my mind. Like that's an actual possibility that I think that they were trying to push to low-key call it before they try to pull some fucking weird scam. And
I know. I think it's so. I think it's so. It's a wild fucking time in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild, like the Liz Chaney thing. I think calling Liz Chaney a war hawk, and then like it's funny, like the broken clips that they take and how they're like, oh, Kamala sounded like a raving lunatic. Let's take her answer from that other question and put it at the end of that, like, and they're just cutting the interviews up, and then they're taking things like even Tony Hinchcliffe with what he said about Puerto Rico being a floating island of trash. He went in at every single race throughout the thing, because that's literally what Tony Hinchcliffe does. He's a roast comedian. And so he kind of went in at everyone and fucking mocked what they've been up to for the last whatever years. So it's just funny how it's just like floating island of trash. But also Puerto Rico has a literal trash problem that people need to look into. And then another thing is short attention span theater. Remember when the whole news was like, oh, Puerto Rico had a hurricane. Trump doesn't care about Puerto Ricans, but really he sent warehouses of fucking supplies and the politicians in Puerto Rico locked them all up away from the people.
And turned it into trash.
Yeah,
Turned the
turned it into the
resources
trash,
into
so
Literal.
they probably can't move off the island now. That's why there's a trash problem. So I just think it's like there's like levels to other things going on. But now, if you were to look up Puerto Rican trash problem, it would just have Tony Hinchcliffe.
Well, dude, it's the same. It's very similar to they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats, where it's like that's so silly. You know, how could that be? But what it also does is it indirectly says, yeah, but look at this community of like 50,000 people that had an influx of 30,000 immigrants all to the same spot. Now it's like it doesn't matter about the dogs and the cats. Now you're paying attention to this very specific story. So I think that there's like a genius aspect to it, maybe in a way, and also my favorite thing currently after Tony Hinchcliffe's stand-up is finding all the people online that are like, who is this guy? We're gonna ruin him. Like, he'll never do stand-up again. It would be like someone seeing a G.G. Allen show and being like, we're gonna find his parents and tell them what he's up to. That'll really put an end to this. And it's just like you are so far gone. You don't even realize what you're complaining about. Like, you are literally feeding the beast right now by complaining about it.
The craziest part to me about the Tony Hinchcliffe setup, that when I saw Tony, I've seen Tony live opening for Joe Rogan. Like, it's so funny how long Tony's been in the zeitgeist of being one of the 6 unfunny comedians that Joe always has on his show. Like, he's one of those Cat William comedians, and he's in the Kill Tony, which is a curious name, is in the Mothership comedy show, which Joe Rogan and the UFO and the whole UFO cult,
which is only 2 miles from the Lady Bird Lake killings. I just got to point that out. If anyone follows true crime and unsolved cold case serial killers, it is literally about 2 miles from the comedy mothership.
And I think that Tony Hinchcliffe, like he's curious. The most curious thing about Tony Hinchcliffe is he isn't gay, he isn't a Jew, but he probably is a shill. If you listen to this guy, he sounds like every gay uncle you've ever heard talk in your life. And he looks like every picture they ever try to show you and be like, this is a Jewish guy. This guy's married to Ivana Trump. He kind of almost has that look like Jared Kushner. Like, but he the funniest thing is I think that Luis Gomez said or it wasn't. It was big Owen Benjamin on a tweet said they were like, you can't, Luis Gomez was pretty much like, don't go in at Tony. If you're a comic and go in at Tony, you're bullshit right now. And Owen Benjamin wrote, can we say that he sounds like the alien on American Dad? Like, that's legitimately what he sounds like when he talks. So
you mentioned Jared Kushner. I don't see his wife around Donald Trump anymore. Ivanka. Yeah, she's not around her dad much anymore.
She was at Doral. She didn't speak, but I feel like she was at Doral. But she just isn't.
She was very,
Yeah, I think she's just mommy. I think she's like full-time mom.
I don't know.
The whole like Puerto Rico thing, I think, is a psyop because they don't want people to move there, because that's where all the rich
tax
people,
breaks.
Tax breaks. Jake Paul lives there. Like, rich people live there. I want to go there. I was like, man, it's America as well. Like, it's still like you're still America living there.
The trick
I don't
is
think you can vote though.
No, you can't.
No,
you can vote if you're an American Puerto Rican, but not if you're like Puerto Rican. Like, it's
like you live half the year there.
I heard a funny thing too is like Puerto Rico and Israel are in battle right now to become our 51st state.
That's funny. Yeah.
And that's kind of always been the thing is like, no DC, you don't get to no, for some reason it feels like we are, participating in a spell of casting a vote for something. Yeah, we're casting. And so it's curious to me that the magic of the spell doesn't exist in the quadrant of the District of Columbia. You're not allowed to cast your vote from there. You're not allowed to cast your vote from Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
So it's just
I think Juan's Puerto Rican.
I think the Tower Gang, Top Lobster is Puerto Rican.
Top Lobster's Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rico.
Can we name something
Puerto
good that comes
Rican.
from Puerto Rico just for some healthy balance here?
I love Puerto Ricans. Like in my Florida blood, I feel like part of my flavor is partially from Puerto Rico. Like it just feels like there's certain, I didn't know a lot of Mexican people until I was probably in high school. But because all around me, anything that was of any, I even hate Latin, like just as a blanket here, Latin for all these things that Spain, like it just is such a crazy thing. But like I grew up around a lot of Cubans and Puerto Ricans, so I didn't know a lot of Mexicans until I like high school and then moved to California. And then it was just like in my naivete, it wasn't, this is where people are like, that's racist. No, you just don't know. I only knew like Cuban Spanish stuff. So going to SoCal and like learning like why like Latin, what is this Latin at all? Like what the
Same
fuck?
in New York, Mexican, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, all flavors of Spanish? No, not
Brazilian. Some of them are Portuguese.
South
'cause
American.
It's like
there
once
you
you
go.
get into South America and Brazil, it's like a lot of Portuguese. They don't even speak Spanish. So
I
yeah.
went to like an all Mexican middle school. There was white kids and stuff too, but there were a lot of Mexicans.
My wife's from El Paso, Texas. So that is like she's a towhead, like blonde-haired, blue-eyed German kid. And she was the only kid that looked like her in the hospital. Like, look at this little.
I also went to another middle school and it was all white people.
All whiteys. I never went to any all one color school.
I had one
No, me
school, there
neither.
was like one black kid and everyone knew his name because how could you not?
He was
Yeah.
about
Actually,
Ivan.
once East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Was
It
it
was like
all what?
majority white, rich kids, or majority. I mean, I've never went to a high school like that had like cooking class, wood shop, jewelry making, this, that. I'm like, this is fucking school. I was like going from public school in like New York City, like where you don't have any of that access. Going there, I was like, oh my God, we actually have a pool in our school. Like, what? That was mind blowing. Cheerleaders? What? It was like I was in a movie. That's how I felt. Lockers? I get to use them? What?
Yeah, there was only 2 Jews in my school too, and it was me and this other guy.
I'm starting to, I think there might have only been a few Jews in my school too. And this is what I'll say about my Jewish friend. This is why I know, because she was my Jewish friend for so long that I always felt like bummed because Temple was on a whole different night than our church. And so like hang out and stay the night and slumber party nights. She was always at Temple. So she missed out on a whole bunch of other weekends. Our weekend was different.
Yeah, I remember because
I want to say her name because it's so, but I won't. But it's
You-
so like such a great Jewish name, like the whole thing.
I went to California when I was a kid to like, I don't know, where like Disneyland or Six Flags or some like amusement park. And I remember I saw a Jewish kid and I freaked out because I never seen like a Jew out in the wild like that before.
Did he have a dreidel? How did you know he was
Yeah,
Jewish? Oh,
gear,
tendrils.
Yeah. And so I ran up on this kid, so excited because I'm like, I finally seen someone. Because I've lived where there's no like Jews where I grew up or where I live. It's very like not a lot. So when I saw
I want to be like Jew.
yeah,
I want to
ran
walk
up
like
and I'm
Jew.
all excited like that. Yeah, and he was like freaked out that I just wanted to like be his friend. He was, and the same thing happens. I went voting today, and like there's this like little tiny like Jewish guy. You could tell because they got the whole like outfit on, and I was like, "Oh, Baruch Hashem!" Like, going up to him like that, all excited. and he just sees this like guy towering over him, just be like, "Yo, I know the rabbi." What? Like he's probably freaking out.
Whoop,
I have a
whoop.
question.
Yeah, whoop, whoop, juggalo, yo, what up, dog?
Here's
He's
an
like,
interesting question though. Okay, you see how like when you go to Brooklyn, everyone's wearing the suits and the women are all dressed alike and the men are dressed alike. That
I've
wasn't
never
the
seen that. Yeah, I've never
well in
been anywhere
Brooklyn
like
and all
that.
these like Jewish prominent cities in like
Yeah,
New Jersey and in Brooklyn, they
right.
all wear the same attire, and I'm like, wait, this has nothing to do with ancient Jewish culture because they didn't have that attire.
Right,
Like,
what's up
where's
with
this
that? Like,
coming
where's that
from?
come from? That's what I always and
I
it's like
always wonder
I
that.
always wonder that too. I'm gonna ask
I'm
him,
like,
man.
why all of a sudden all the women are
Yeah,
wearing the
what
skirts
is
and the
up with
wigs and all
yeah,
that? Why did they
like they
change
were
that and why they
making
all look alike in
they
that
were making
sense?
the button. Yeah, I know. I don't get that either.
And
I
not
always
like
get
to
that
diss
question
it, but
too.
my mind went there. It's just like that wasn't a thing in their culture. Like everyone just wore their normal clothes. They didn't want to be different from everyone else. But now they're
Yeah, it's
all
all wear the
in
same.
this, and you
It's
can
groupthink.
distinctly tell, okay, they're Jewish. We know, just like Muslims and their hijabs and the men with their long, whatever the fuck they're
Yeah, like
called.
why is like the thing all black? Like
Yeah.
everybody wears the same thing, but where does it say you got to wear it like this color?
Yeah. Where did that come from? Because it wasn't.
I've never been. I want to go live out there because I've never been in like a community where other like Jewish people. Are. So it's like foreign to me.
Yeah, I always wondered. Strange. Why not dress the cultural way of how it was?
I don't know. It's
Like,
probably
this
it's
question's
probably
supposed to escape my head. I keep trying to I like remember the question and like rephrase it in my brain and it keeps escaping. And I'm like, maybe you're not supposed to be asked. I feel like it's something about Jewish or like dressing. Oh, this is what I was gonna ask. Do you think the Greece is older than Mormon? Isn't that a weird? Which is older? The Mormon church or Greece?
Well, Greece started in 1831.
When
And
does Mormon?
Mormonism was around the same time period, I think, like 1828 or something.
Oh shit. See, that would blow my mind. Like when they show you those things on a time graph and they're like, here's you, here's Cleopatra, here's woolly mammoth, here's dinosaurs, and you see it laid out, you're like, damn, Cleopatra is real close to us.
Well, people need to look into the Anglo-Israelis. That's a whole fucking rabbit hole in itself. It's like a history where the history of like current Judaism was actually stolen from the Anglo-Israelis. And it's a fucking interesting fucking history. If it's real or not.
I've been trying to figure it out forever, and because I'm Ashkenazi, and you hear all that stuff, and that just means like I'm white, you know, and the Israelis are like dark, like they look dark.
Amish girls need Proactive.
Well, not all. It's a mixture now.
It's a mixture now.
Black.
Then you got Sephardic, that's black.
Yeah.
You got my family also Iranian Jew, so they're Iranian. So there's all over the place. My grandpa is Russian, Romanian, so that's why I'm got a little more darker skin. So it's but it seems to be coming from some Italian bloodline. That's what it's been shown so far. Italian. Well, and it makes sense because every Jew wants to be Italian.
Because in my culture, they have like the whole of our people, like they say the Romans were the ones that were there at the crucifixion, but they have this like ancient painting of the whole crucifixion. You could see the red and black flags flying in the background with the two-headed eagle. And I'm just like,
if you told me Roman, like if you just said that to me, I would just assume those are men who came by boat.
Roman?
Yeah. I would just assume that. Like if you didn't point out a country.
Well, ironically, they're the ones that took out the guys that came by boat. They're the ones that put an end to the Phoenicians and the Carthaginians.
So curious.
There's a whole region in the Albanian area called Palestrina instead of Palestina. or Palestine, it's Palestrina. And I'm just like, what if there's like misinformation happening somewhere? I just can't wait to like put it all together. There's just a lot.
So Three Eyes also writes that Jewish isn't a race, it's a religion, and it's not. It's a race. And you can do this because you could take someone's blood and it can come back. Oh, you're Ashkenazi Jewish. Like that's so it is a race.
Just like our bloodline, it'll show like it'll go down to the root of like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you think about the realism and like
the alien stuff?
Yeah, and that
Alien
kind
stuff?
of being a religion, the symbolism that's pushed, Kanye kind of bringing it up back when he was going on his rant, and then the links to like Elon Musk, and then us seeing the albino alligator come out for their ritual.
Right. Yeah, no, that Raelian stuff, I mean, it's all part of the cult, the theosophy and stuff like that. It's the same like as the Helen Blavatsky symbol. They just made it new. It was just more mind control for alien cults and stuff like that that Elon's part of. So when Elon lets anything happen on Twitter. Like we all see Twitter and how crazy it is. But for some reason, like Kanye could say anything he wants, can do anything he wants, but he can't show an alien cult, and then he gets banned because Kanye, I think Kanye's been under MK Ultra mind control, and he was there to remove President Trump. This has been proven because he showed the text message from the Jewish Canadian guy that put him under MK Ultra mind control. So it's been proven he was been under MK Ultra mind control, and that whole Kardashian clan connection with the aliens that we just saw now. I believe he was.
She met with Trump too, not just Kanye. Kim met with Donald Trump too.
Yeah, they're very powerful bloodline.
I don't think it's Jewish. I think it's like this whole Zionist thing of people saying I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, because Judaism isn't a lot of what they're portraying. They say I'm Jewish, but no, the actual Jews know that they're not. Whatever's going on is not supposed to be happening. This is like a Zionist indoctrination of what is happening. It's like a perversion of what true Judaism is, and this shit is not it. I don't want to be mean, but like this is not it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm actually working on a documentary called Oy Vey, The Last Shekel. And it's in my response to Europa, The Last Battle. So it's just I'm gonna just like debunk a lot of the stuff that's out there on that topic. It's not going to be like bad. I'm not going to make it all political.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's not going blah blah. It's not going to be all political. It's just there's so much misinformation out there, and put some stuff out there.
Is it weird that if you visit any, like if I were to go and like visit the sheiks and they like gave me a sword, no one says anything, and if I go visit the priests and they give me a Bible, no one says anything, but if I go and visit the Jews
that's the end of
and they give me a say, oh my god, it's over.
Did you see that you have the two guys, Chuck Schumer and President Trump, next to each other, rubbing each other and whatnot at the Catholic charity, but nobody brings up that's a little what's up with that
all the time. Like it is a roast that's gone on longer than Tony Hinchcliffe, that all the presidential candidates forever sit in, both of them regardless, in front of this whole like Catholic committee and like roast each other with such truth facts that it's like they all mock it to the world, that they are laughing in our face about it.
Right.
Well, even the comedy roasts were based on the Friars Club, right? Like FRIAR, which also has sort of a religious connotation, even if that's not what it was when they began that particular type of roast.
Oh yeah, that's so true. And then it's like the certain people that we see that have been involved in these roasts, from like the roast of Justin Bieber and like the roast of Donald Trump and the roast. It's like we've gotten to watch these certain politicians or people all get their shaming, even Tom Brady, the roast of Tom Brady, and how it was like the most watched thing ever on Netflix. And it's like we already had the push of Tony Hinchcliffe into our zeitgeist hardcore before the Puerto Rican moment, and it's like it was set up a little bit like a little golf ball on a tee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have $1 billion. Like, that's how Trump ended the roast. He's like, y'all make fun of me. Well, I have $1 billion.
Those,
I'll
and
just laugh my way
the
to
truths
the
they
bank.
say at those roasts, if you look at any of the stuff that they mock pedophilia, if they mock rape, if they mock murder, like the amount of stuff that happens, that it's all stuff that conspiratorial. If you look into a lot of these people, it's all very real. The roast of Alec Baldwin, and it's very real shit. And then you can't find the shit because it's a comedian joke. And Comedy Central is another 33. Like even the CC of it all. And so I even think the comedy of it, Jon Stewart, Joe Rogan, it's always the comedian. For some reason, they're allowed to get away with like telling us these truths. Like they've become the new arbiter of truth that we all believe in. If you're a comic,
It's the highest form of propaganda to lower someone's defenses if they relate to comedy.
it's like the jester walking in and they can mock the king. There seems to be a magic between the bells. All right. Do you guys have anything else you want to chat about today?
IlluminatiComic.com.
Yes, IlluminatiComic.com. On 11/11, we're going to launch it. And got to go to IlluminatiComic.com and sign up for the email list, because once it launches, this is the best way to support us. Plus, you get early access to great items like the Donut VHS box, which I got to send you, Layla. You got to send me where I could send I got to get you.
Yeah.
One of
I'd love
And
one.
yeah, it's dope. I got them here. So we got like a new one coming up, Illuminati Yacht Club kind of stuff. We got all this crazy.
Yeah, for all the ballers that are waiting in the back that are like, what do you got for me that's not just the VHS box? We got Illuminati Yacht Club, and it's going to be kind of like the big baller package.
Oh, I see. I don't need one of those.
Yeah, we're going to have to, at the next meetup, we'll have to all swap cards.
Oh, I got to get me one of those and one of those
And one of
and one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
Chaney
And one of those.
and Thomas.
Another one.
Another one.
Another one.
And you missed Abbie. She doesn't get her shown tonight.
No, I put it up. That was the second one I put up after.
I didn't see it. My bad. Oh, okay. Then, well,
Maybe
shout
we-
out to Abbie.
Maybe we
don't.
start from the beginning. We start
I
all
don't
over.
want sex.
Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start.
No, I don't have sex, unfortunately. But fortunately, because I don't want the mRNA within me.
I thought it said something about SSGG. Segs.
Segs.
You don't want the mRNA. You know what? I have to say, no, I'm not going to say it. I'll save it for Sunday show, because I'm like, it'll get heavy medical so quick into real life stuff that I'm like, it'll be these 3 letters together that I say that they'll be like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take that down from us. So I'm like, nope, I feel like we danced the line good tonight. No need to get in trouble with Fauci. So anyways, we love you guys so much. Make sure you do go to IlluminatiComic.com. If you can't afford it, become a Yacht Club member. You never know what kind of perks that may have later on. And yeah, we love you so much. And thanks for watching the
Love
Secret
you.
Society.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Here comes the world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.